Hey everybody, welcome to episode 89 of Power Bombshells. This is our Halloween live stream. I am Sam, that is Mel. No, you don't need to adjust your screens. We do not have our cameras on because we're both in costume and we have not seen the other one yet. So we wanted to do a live reveal when we show you guys. And then on top of that, I had tech problems right before we went on air. I had a screaming microphone in my ear, so I'm doing no microphone today. I think this is the first time I've ever done the show without a microphone, so hopefully the audio is good and it doesn't sound terrible.
We have it fixed from last week and last week's fuzzy. You know, you didn't look fuzzy to me on the stream, so I was a little frustrated by you.
Yeah, it didn't look fuzzy to me at all, and so I think yeah, this is what I get for trying out another internet. They're like, here, you can try our internet 30 days for $5, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, you can have your internet back because you're messing up my live streams.
Nope, and nope.
Yes. Daza said this is spooky.
Hey, we're very scary.
That's what we're going for.
We are so fun. We're gonna have so much fun today. It's scary.
This is true. Daza says the Fight Game Media logos talking is weirding me out.
It's kind of awesome, actually. This worked out perfectly. So
before we do the reveal, I'm gonna go to the comments because they had some guesses before we came on.
Yeah, so I saw that too, and you're close in a way, but also not. So
right. So Daza says that he's predicting that Mel is wearing a witch's hat, and then Nikki says, "I wonder if Mel's costume has a hat," and then Daza says, "Maybe it's a head for a hat."
That would be great. I actually, Daza, I would need to get, now that all this hat thing has blown up, I need to get one of those. My mother-in-law is a crafting lady and has a couple of those heads. So I'm either going to borrow them from her or that's my Christmas present. Buy me some of those just heads for hats.
There you go.
Well, when I'm like decorating them and stuff or doing things to them, like it would help tremendously. I was doing it on top of my laptop, you know. Like, all right, girl, you ready for this?
Okay. Daza said the logos look like faces. I think we've got a few people here in the chat, and we've got some of our regulars in the chat. We got a few people watching. So, are we ready? Are we ready for you guys? Ready for the reveal, or do you want us to keep doing the talking heads that freaked Daza out?
I'm ready whenever you are.
Okay.
Oh wait, I just dropped my pen. Okay, never mind. I'm not ready.
I didn't start our camera.
So pro. Okay, now I'm ready.
Okay, I guess we're gonna we'll do a countdown on. We'll count down backwards from 3, and at 1 we'll both turn the cameras on at the same time. How does that sound?
All right, sounds good. I got it.
Okay, you're ready?
I'm so ready.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am a shining wizard.
That's phenomenal. I love it so much.
I'll show you guys on the Insta when I've got the whole thing put together for the kids a little later, because we're going to the Halloween party later. But
yeah,
I haven't worn this piece in a while. I was very excited. So
I'm very excited for you.
How am I going to top Liger from last year?
Yeah, we talked about that. Like, nothing ever that Mel and I ever come up with will ever top Liger. So obviously I had to go with the Bray Wyatt tribute today.
I like it.
I thought that was
I think it was a good call.
Yeah. I had talked to Nikki we had talked about maybe doing like hanging some like orange lights for my fan, but we were worried because it's daytime, like that it wouldn't pop up, because I wanted to have like a firefly effect, but yeah, it doesn't look like that's going to be happening.
Yeah, getting all arranged here because my lighting is just terrible. But
right.
No, it was one of those weeks where it's thank you, Nikki. Thank you. It did have a hat, and it is fundamentally a witch's hat, but it's a very versatile witch's hat.
It is a versatile
I had
look.
a good time. This one I picked up at one of the fairs, and then when I went to the Pennsylvania fair, I saw a lot of people had this hat in different colors, but all the things you can do with it is, I was like, whoa. I was like looking all day. I was just checking out what people had decided to do with their hat, and it gave me ideas. And I was really struggling for something fun, so this like came together. I was like, wait a minute.
I love
have
it.
all these things that are sparkly. I've never gotten to use this flower here, so I was very.
I love it. It's so cool. And I was like, I was like, this is one of those hats that you can invest in and wear and make it and do it all kinds of cool stuff with it.
So fun.
It's
You
a good
guys
time.
actually, I feel like you and Nikki should have one in like colors you like, because you could do all kinds of stuff with them.
I feel like
We could
I
nerd
agree
out.
with
Like
you.
it's I almost went on Pinterest, Sam. This was like serious. It was serious.
Listen, Nikki and I are on Pinterest and we use it all. We still use it often. So
Bob is the one who turned me on to it, honestly. He's like really good at that stuff. He's good at Etsy. He's good at Pinterest. That's his jam. His mom is like, she's responsible for a lot of the handmade stuff that and them collaboratively, like that we've
right.
got as part of our costumes, our garbs. So I mean, don't say costume. That's so like, oh my gosh, what a mark.
Yeah, Mark. as I'm dressed up as Bray Wyatt.
I think it's beautiful. Plus, it's been like a Muda year for me, and I thought, oh, I can be a shining wizard. And then
That's such a cool idea, though. I never would have come up with that. I love it so much.
Well, thank you. That's awesome. I love your everything. I mean, it just
Thank
looks
you.
great.
It came together really quickly on so Daza says, and this is why you two are number one. You don't see Gigi and LaRocca doing this. Yeah, my costume came together. Like I came up with it like a few weeks ago when I realized like, oh, we've got to do, the Halloween live stream again. So I need to think of a costume. And I was like, oh, I will do a tribute to Bray Wyatt. And I was like, it'll be easy. No, I guess because it's later in the year, like it took me forever to find just a shirt and a hat. And so I ended up going to Goodwill to find the shirt. And it was funny because I walked in and spotted it immediately. Like I turned towards the men's section and it was just there. And I was like, meant to be. And it was and so then we went to Party City is nearby. And so we went to Party City and like they had a couple of hats and the black ones just didn't. I was like, this just doesn't feel right. And then we saw this one and Nikki was like, that's the hat. She was like, it's that one. So.
It is. No, it's perfect. That is the perfect hat. Actually, I think our Discord channel is going to be really excited. When I wore mine that was similar, that gave everybody the Bray Wyatt vibe a while back, they turned that into a react on our Discord.
You're going to turn it into a react and I'm not even on there.
So you might just beware because they're going to be like, Sam's doing Bray Wyatt now. We have to do a Sam react with Bray Wyatt because everybody just really dug that. That was a very popular week. And that hat was, I don't know, it seemed right. It was like the timing was right. I had just picked that up with my big, I remember I picked up a pile at the, ironically, the pharmacy, at the CVS or whatever. That's where I ended up getting a lot when I had a whole bunch of them. I still haven't worn through all of those yet, even. So it's good to know. So you guys have plenty of time to guess.
I'm telling you guys, she is prepared for hats. And, and luckily we've had this lantern for a while for like when we've had power outages, and I was like, well, we've already got the lantern, so it's like
perfect.
I really get the fireflies, but I was like, I don't know how that'll translate on camera. So, and I wanted to play music, but then I didn't want to get a strike against us and get us like copy or like pulled down.
They're gonna be like, what did you guys do?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't want Garrett to yell at us because we got in trouble for using Bray Wyatt's music. So it's like, well, they'll just pretend they can hear it.
It's like, why are Mel and Sam always such a pain in my butt about these?
Yeah, I wouldn't let Nikki see. I didn't, because I put it on and I was like, I almost opened the door and be like, what do you think? And I was like, no, I'll just let her see it on camera with everybody else.
Oh, good. That's even better.
Yeah, so she was with me when I got the shirt and the hat. And then, so she hasn't seen it. So she got to see it in the reveal with you guys. And Daza says we both look awesome. Thank you, Daza. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We I had to make Bob had to make sure I was shiny enough. So
Well, of
I mean,
course.
it may or may not come through in the, but I mean, it will definitely come through for the kids, and you know,
Oh, the
he didn't
kids are
get
gonna
to
love
see the
it.
piece on camera
Yeah.
yet. So
Yeah, and we'll post pictures because last year we posted pictures to our Instagram at Powerbombshells.
yes,
And
and
so we will,
I have that. It's right here. Look at
yes.
that.
So
And
make sure
so
that
we
you're
will
following us
post
there
pictures.
and of course on Twitter, but we'll post our pictures up there just so we can we'll just document all our Halloween costumes from last year on there. If you missed it last year, Mel had an amazing Liger costume. I was Matt Hardy, Nikki was Jeff Hardy, so she came on with
It was a
us
lot of fun.
so that she could do that. So so we this is so hopefully, you know, as long as the show is around, we'll be having Halloween live streams and having costumes because
Heck
we're
yeah.
we're nerds and it's fun.
Yes, exactly. We need reasons to show. I mean, I already go out of my way to dress up, so you know I'm all about that.
Yeah.
So again, this is just the top half. I'm like, you know, going for that.
I can't
I'll
wait to
show the
see.
whole yeah, we'll show the whole program, and that way you guys
I
can see
can't wait.
Bob's
Yeah, because
little scarecrow
Mel's
too.
got something that she's doing. She's got another in real life thing after this and dressing up for the kids, and so I can't wait to see the whole thing.
It's got stripes and all kinds of funny stuff. So
Ooh,
it'll be
I like
hilarious.
it.
It's just, you know, we don't do full. We do this much, and you guys get to see this much of it, and then
Yeah,
you have reasons to check out our Instagram and tell your friends.
exactly. See,
So
and you also have reason to check out our Twitter because this week on Twitter we ran a very scientific poll.
now, do you have the poll handy, or
I do have the poll handy, and I have the results, and there's actually a tweet that I wanted to read with it once we get through the results because it's very funny. So
we should let everybody know that so we decided to run a very scientific poll about how you like your autumn takes, whether they were pumpkin spice or cider.
yes,
And I'm pretty sure it was a blowout at the last time I looked.
It was. And so with a whopping 25 votes that we had in our week-long poll, so I'm pretty happy with that. Pumpkin spice brought in 24% of the vote, and apple cider came in hot with 76% of the vote. So they prefer, the Powerbombshells listeners prefer their apple cider hot takes.
That's
to their
right.
pumpkin
So
spice.
hot apple cider, spicy hot takes for this time of year. All I have to tell you that one of the Discord quotes, because you weren't in there, was
please share.
and this one is a little, so if you have virgin ears or don't like the swears or like potty humor, then you close your. But I think you'll get a kick out of this one. Our friend John said, anything cider or pumpkin flavored because cider won't give you the shits, or cider gives you the shits. So he was pro pumpkin spice in this particular case, but
Okay.
but that's just because sadly, and I understand this as someone who has a fructose intolerance situation.
Sure.
But I pushed through, as it were. Hey, pun. Because I freaking love apple cider. Like, it's one of my favorite things. Like, that was what my dad used to. That's what we used to bring to Thanksgiving, was like bring our main apple cider with us. And
of course, well then you have
we
to.
had it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So Dina, who is a friend of mine that we write together, and she said, I don't even like apple cider, but I despise anything pumpkin. So I was like, hey, your vote counts. We'll take it.
Right.
Make
your voice heard.
I was like, I'm reading that on air.
I read that tweet and I'm glad you did.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is great. Thanks, Dina.
I think we got a new go again that we had a pro hot apple cider group, but we now have empirical evidence that we can share with the world.
Right. So we should have a screenshot. I'm gonna post those results. I should post it to our.
I meant to screenshot it so we could put it up here, but I was busy getting ready because
that's okay. I didn't think about it till now, so I might screenshot it and put it on our Instagram.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. That way we've documented our various, and we
Yes,
appreciate you participating
we
in our
do.
very scientific Twitter poll,
Yes, we
X
do.
poll, whatever you want to call it. What I loved was seeing that we got people actually participated and quote tweeted it and retweeted it, and that's really cool, guys. Thank
Yeah, we
you. It was
appreciate
a
that
lot of
so
fun.
much. Yes, so
Get some
much. Okay,
outside
let me screenshot that now so I don't forget.
Good
And
call.
Nikki says, I still think some people only voted for apple cider because they hate pumpkin spice so much or hate how mainstream it is. Haha, like Dina. I think that probably has some truth to it. And we could have
Pumpkin
added,
spice edgelords out there, they're like anti-pumpkin spice.
yeah, and we could have, I was like,
I
we
hate it
could have,
because the normies hate it.
yeah, right. I was like, I mean, we could have added, I mean, I guess we could run another poll and decide if you like salted caramel
Yeah,
versus
yeah, definitely.
versus hot cocoa or salted caramel versus like I love red velvet, but then it got like really popular and they tried to make all kinds of red velvet things that didn't even taste like red velvet. Like Oreo has their red velvet cookies and it tastes exactly like their golden vanilla Oreos. They're just red.
I think things just jumped the shark. I think they just like, let's try this, let's try this, let's try this. And I mean, I make the joke about Bob's pumpkin spice. Like, did you guys get your pumpkin spice tires in yet? And because I think that at some point just becomes like an oversaturation thing.
It does become
You
an
know what's
oversaturation.
cool
And this
is
is
Tim
not the,
Hortons does pumpkin spice, but they do a bunch of like harvesty things. So they had some like apple cider, they had some oat milk based stuff that was really great. Like one of the things I love about Tim Hortons is they do have dairy free alternatives, and they have
that's
coconut
really
and
cool.
almond, and the drinks don't taste like crap. They actually are like
That's always
good.
a huge plus.
No, yeah, it's usually, I mean, it's tough for us non-dairy peeps out
Oh
there
yeah.
that, it's like
Yeah, and I've had
usually
to,
it's kind of like, okay. And I mean, I lived
yeah,
in Seattle, so I always get that extra shot of espresso in there, which confuses
right.
everyone, but
Yeah.
we, but it's
You do you.
fun
And that's,
to
I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, I'm not a pumpkin spice person. I've just never really been one. But like, if you like it, I mean, listen, there's a lot of crappy things going on. So if pumpkin spice makes you happy for 30 minutes or whatever it
all
is,
right.
then enjoy it. And we tease you lovingly, but I enjoy what you like.
Exactly.
It's just like with wrestling. Watch the wrestling you like.
Exactly. It's exactly I mean, exactly. Is it like what you like?
Like what you like.
My After the week she had, my niece was very happy to my sister took her to get a pumpkin spice frosty at Wendy's. We're not advocating, that was just what she was really, really, really needing after the week
Hey,
she had.
can
And I was like,
understandable.
it was really cute because I kind of texted my sister. I was like, so pumpkin spice frosties. And I got a picture later on that they got them. And I was like, excellent. They needed
Good.
that.
Yeah, my dad texted me and Nikki a few weeks ago and he tried it and I think he liked it okay. And then my mom ended up trying it like a couple of weeks ago and she liked it, but then she was like, I think I just want to stick with chocolate. But like, yeah.
I'm with her. I'm a big chocolate fan. I
Me
mean,
too. I'm a huge chocolate fan, and I was like, and I don't not, and I enjoy vanilla flavored things, but I was like, yeah, I'm always gonna go with chocolate. So, and I was thinking with the frosty, it's kind of like it's a classic, and it's
it
hard
is.
to
It's the
deviate
OG.
from that. And this
But
is
again,
brand
like even they have it. Like everybody is on that boat, and so it just
yeah,
becomes like enough already.
yeah.
I don't need
Well, and I
pumpkin
was like, I
spice
think, and I was like,
Doritos.
who
I
knows how
don't need
long they've been
pumpkin
working?
spice whatever. It's enough.
Yeah, yeah. I
It's
was like, who
literally
knows how
just
long
a
they've been working
combination.
on it?
I
Probably.
have all of the things in my cupboard right now. I can go right now and make it up for you. I saw the best tweet. Someone they were talking about I had to explain pumpkin spice. But they were like, it's white people masala. And I was like, oh, that is so accurate.
That's fantastic. That's great.
It's just a combination of spices. You could put it in any gourd. They used to do a sweet potato pies at the bakery my cousin worked at. They did the pumpkin and sweet potato. It's like the same thing, but same spice combo. So it's really
Right.
it gave me a chuckle, and I thought, and I think anyone with a sense of humor would enjoy that.
Yeah,
It's
of
pretty
course.
accurate.
Yeah, that's great.
So thank you for participating in our
Yes.
very scientific poll.
Yes, we appreciate that. It's very scientific, very accurate poll on Twitter. Everybody knows Twitter polls are the most scientific and most accurate polls to ever exist.
It's true. Yeah.
And then we've had our
review. They're just that good.
Yeah, we've had our food corner portion of the show.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess before we get it, we will do our Halloween live stream stuff. Like if you were here with us last year, we created our own horror movie. We came up with a cast of characters and came up with some questions, and we had some guests last year and they helped us, but then we had our viewers weigh in too. And so since it's just Mel and I, for everybody who's watching, please feel free to pitch in and help us write a horror story. We're going to do that a little bit later in the episode, but since this is a wrestling podcast, so we are going to talk a little bit about wrestling this week, and then in the perfect timing, because it looks like Danhausen's on the way back in. He's hinting, are they in Louisville on Wednesday? Is that where they're at? Because
I don't know, but if they are, that's pretty close for him from here.
Yeah, because he tweeted a picture yesterday of a bridge, and a couple of people said, "Oh, that's Louisville." So it sounds like he'll be showing up on Wednesday.
I can't remember, but you're probably right, and I could probably look it up. But
whenever they are in Louisville, it appears that is when Danhausen will be returning. We got some Abaddon, which we'll talk more about in a little bit. So looks like we'll probably have, I'm assuming we'll have Halloween BTE on Monday.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah, so I was like, it's a tradition. Okada's been in town. Hopefully they got him.
Oh, that would be fun. He's super cool about that stuff. He's so like,
I mean, the man goes and puts their clothes on and wears their gear and waits for them to come to their locker rooms.
That's hilarious. He seems like he has a lot of fun with, like, he's like this great wrestler, but he's also just a cool dude. Like,
yeah, and I didn't really see anything, but I saw a tweet talking about it. I guess some people were like, "Why is Okada wrestling with Orange Cassidy?" I'm like, "Do you know anything about Okada?"
Yeah, right.
I was like, that Orange Cassidy is right up his alley. I was like, Okada might be literally one of the best wrestlers ever, but this man he's just like Suzuki. They are not above comedy. Like,
they'll do everything. They don't care. They're true pro wrestlers. They'll do anything. It's like, or they'll make you do their thing, like if they have to. It's just depending on the circumstances. But really, I love that about, you're right.
Yeah, me too. And I was like, did y'all miss the Brocada era? I was like, this man came out with red in his hair and carrying balloons around for months because he was sad that he lost his title and he didn't know what to do.
That was my first G1, so it was really weird for me at first. And then as I went along, as Gato does often after a few years now of watching since then, he made me love it. He made me realize, like, he was like, do this, and oh my God, by the end, like, I was like, I started out hating it and was like, this is genius. Oh my God.
It's phenomenal.
And then right now, even I was talking to some people in our channel. They were like, we were talking about the fact, or another channel. We were talking about how he's still Road Kata right now, and he's like, get off my lawn, you like new kids that are in town. And
oh yeah, he's
doing that a little bit. I think people were like, Excalibur tried to explain it, but it's like, you don't have to worry about it. But they were on there, and they're like, he's pretty mad, and he's still doing. I'm like, yeah, because he's still like, get off my lawn.
Yeah, he's definitely in the old man phase of his career.
I'm the best ever. Get off my lawn.
It's in his Rokada era for sure. He's shaking his fist. Nikki says Okada is obviously a big dork. Yeah,
John got John got to meet him just because he was at the Royal Quest event, and I have that picture. Fortunately, I get to, like, it's so cool. But he said that he was so nice. He's like, meet your heroes, because if that dude can just be a total nice, like, he was appreciative to them for being he was like overwhelmingly grateful to them for like paying to see him, and it was just like,
yeah,
what, dude, what? And he was like so
yeah.
cool about like letting them touch the belt and like hang out, you know, and get
Nikki and I
pictures
met
with
him
it.
at Starcast when we went to All In, and I mean, it was because there were so many people, it was very quick, and it was the last day, like it was, because All In was the night before, so it was that was like one of the last Starcast events was a meet and greet with him, and we didn't get to, like we didn't get to like really talk to him or anything, but like it was just really cool to. I mean, there were so many people there, and it was yeah, it was a really cool thing, and yeah, it's crazy that they are so surprised by American fans who or Western fans who want to meet them, and because like Naito is always like, why do all these people want to meet me?
Yeah,
Like,
it's crazy. I mean, I think it's funny even still they kind of react that way. I mean, even
yeah,
Suzuki at GCW like last year where
right,
he was, I mean, he was like, oh wow, like thank you stuff. I mean,
yeah,
just they're I just love it.
yeah,
The
I
fact
do
that
too.
we've had the opportunities to do that and the fact that they're fans too. They love like
Yeah,
they get it. They know what
yeah,
they're doing. They know how important we are. They love us. We love them. That's the way it should be. I mean, there's too much this it's just a fake sport, guys. It's you can't be a big jerk about it. You can't be some stuck
right,
up like skill position player guy because you're whatever. I mean,
right, right.
then you
Nikki
because
said
you end
we
up like you're trying to beat up your boss and then you break up and
yeah,
I mean just bad things all the way around happen.
yeah, yeah. He said maybe it's because he's a new dad, so he turned in to get off my lawn Okada.
That's a great point.
Mhm.
He is a dad now. That does change your perspective.
Yeah.
I've
So
known a lot of my
these
friends
young
where they've
rapscallions
gone from
coming in.
being like a normal, here's my normal dude friend, and now he's my normal dude friend, but he has a baby.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it does change. It's fun.
Yeah.
But it's I mean, I like kids, so I'm like, dope.
Yeah.
My friends and my friends' kids. Perfect.
There you
I
go.
don't get I mean, most of them live in the computer all the time, so, you know,
Right.
I only get to see them once in a great while.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I get them on Facebooks, that part.
Sure.
Anyway,
Well, and I was gonna say we've seen that even though he may be get off my lawn Okada, it has not changed him in the ring because he is still a threat, as Brian Danielson can attest to.
seriously.
So we got the news. So Wednesday night, it appeared that Danielson was injured during the main event.
Okay.
It was Danielson and Casanoli versus Okada and Orange Cassidy. And towards the end, it was a really fun match. And then the ending was not so great, but it's because Danielson legitimately got injured at the
Again, that's the second
again
time that's like
against
the same
Okada.
exact sort of scenario. I mean, it's not the same situation, but the same sort of scenario that happened at Forbidden Door.
Right. And Nigel, I'm sure, is loving it because it's proving his point about Brittle Danielson.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
That
Nigel.
Okada is apparently Danielson's kryptonite. Like this is 2 matches this year where he's been injured in a match with Okada. And so Claudio said, because they didn't really give an update, they just said Tony tweeted after the show that Danielson walked off under his own power. That was all we heard. Well, last night, Claudio on Collision, Claudio said he's very angry. Understandably so. But Okada suffered a broken orbital bone. He will be having surgery, and he will be out through the end of the year.
Wait, Okada did?
No, Okada broke Danielson's orbital bone.
Okay, so okay, that's what I saw this morning. Okay.
Yeah, so Danielson is
has
gonna
a
be
broken orbital bone.
having surgery. Sorry if I was not clear about that, but yes, Okada.
No, that's me misunderstanding.
No, because I was like maybe I wasn't clear. Maybe I got my stuff mixed up. But yeah, so Danielson is out for till the end of the year. It is not storyline. Some people obviously asked that because they were like, because my friend was like, well, what if it's storyline and they're just trying to protect him until Wrestle Kingdom? And then they came out pretty soon after that. No, this is not a work. He legitimately has a broken orbital bone. He will be having surgery. He's done for the year. And Nikki made a point last night. If he's technically having next year be his last like full-time year, he's not going to want to miss any time. But like if he doesn't have to, so he is not going to storyline take himself off of TV to be to stay safe, because
well, and there's so much noise about them. It was supposed to be the noise about Danielson Okada at Wrestle Kingdom is very loud.
It is very loud,
and so that is a struggle, because I mean, if you wouldn't do that, because you're building towards that rematch, the real rematch in Japan now at the big event. So
right, yeah.
I mean, Bob says that he's brittle. I get it, but he's like, the problem with that, like, but he's like put himself through a lot at this point. I mean, this is the reason that this is his bye-bye tour now. I mean, this is the reason that he's needing to get out of it, and he sees it. And I mean, he wants to be able to hang out with his kids and be able to pick them up and be cognizant of their development and stuff. So
yeah.
I mean, maybe this is just like, that sucks so much. I'm sorry. That just like.
Nikki says Claudio said it could have been orange too. Either way, Okada was still a part of the match. Oh, I guess that hurt Okada, but yeah, it sucks how bad that happened. Especially right now, like you said, the Wrestle Kingdom stuff seemed like it was pretty much a lock at this point. I don't know what that does for his time. Like if he's out through the end of the year, will he? I mean, what is this? January 4th, right? Is Wrestle Kingdom?
Yeah, it's January 4th.
Yeah, so I don't know. Would he be cleared and ready to go? I don't know. When they say he's done till the end of the year, I don't know what that means. Like, I don't know if that means he's done with, will he be able to show up at Wrestle Kingdom and have a match? I don't know if that's what I don't know.
I mean, maybe the reason they're pulling him till the end of the year
to give him time
is because this is this specific amount, because I mean, everything has a baseline, like, okay, so you broke your orbital bone, so we have to do this surgery, and this surgery takes this much time and this much recovery and this much rehab and this, like, so I mean, when the patient goes in and gets that stuff done, they have an understanding of like what the action plan essentially is for that. So maybe they know that they can try and fit it into that.
Right. I was trying to.
I mean, it's tough. What is it though? It's going to be the 31st of October on Tuesday. Like, so we're on the 29th right now. That's close.
Yeah, I'm trying.
I don't know anything about Dr. Pete was talking about orbital bone like injuries at some point for someone previously, so maybe we should talk in the Discord, talk to Dr. Pete about that.
Who had the broken orbital bone? Was it Eddie?
I can't remember, but I know that it was somebody in AEW, because Dr. Pete was telling us about eye injuries and orbital bone injuries, and he was explaining how long it can take because they can't do surgery. That area around your eyes is really prone to swelling for just no reason. Like when you wake up sometimes, you or me, because we have grass allergies, might have puffy eyes. That's kind of how he explained it. So it takes a long time for swelling to go down, and you can't go in and mess around with specific tissue until swelling goes down.
Right.
So it was kind of like the Adam Cole thing, where it had to be like to a certain degree, where it was like, inflammation has to go down to a certain level because it's dangerous to mess with, when your muscles are doing what they're doing, because
of course
interfering with the healing.
Yeah,
I think I mean, Nikki says it might have been Iddy too. I think that might be right, because we did, and I do remember us talking about it in one of the AEW channels, because Preet was explaining these things to us. That's our pal, Dr. Preet, who's a subscriber out in the Pacific Northwest. Oh, no, wait. I'm sorry. He's in the Canadian Pacific Northwest. He's
So I tried
Vancouver.
Googling it to look it up, and I mean, of course, everything is different, and that depends on how quickly they can even get Danielson into surgery. This appears to say that um, that orbital floor strength is regained 24 days after repair. Patients can resume normal activities approximately 3 weeks after uncomplicated orbital floor fracture repair. So that's just a ballpark figure. Okay, so let's say he doesn't have surgery till November the 1st. That would put him through Thanksgiving, probably through doing okay. And so maybe they are just giving him a few weeks after that just to make sure he's okay. Maybe he comes back at the pay-per-view December the 30th and comes in.
Oh, that's a great point too, because they do have a pay-per-view on
They
the
have
30th.
a pay-per-view on the 30th on Long Island. Perhaps he comes back and challenges Okada, or maybe Okada maybe he just flies on out to Japan and just surprise. Maybe Okada has an open challenge and Danielson answers. I mean, who knows? I'm sure once he has surgery, I guess we'll have more of a clear timetable. But regardless, they're holding him out till the end of the year.
Which is, I mean, the right move. Get him fixed. He
Yeah,
needs to
especially
enjoy it. This
everything
is
else
like
Danielson
his
has
retirement
been
year.
through.
So
I'm sorry, what was that?
Well, this does seem to be, I mean, he's retiring. So, I mean,
Yeah.
get him fixed up and get him in there so he can do what he needs to do.
Yeah, I thought about that last night. I was like, this is technically this is going to probably take, 2 months off of his last year. So I was like, does he add on does he add on like an injury contract where he adds on and like, well, I can't start not retire, because I think he's just going to step back from wrestling. I think he'll still, I think in 2025 we'll still see him wrestle occasionally. I think he's just going to dial it back a bit. So I was like, does he add 2 months on for injury time, or does he just be like, you know what, I've already have had 2 major injuries this year. Next year I'm gonna go all out, and then I'm gonna if they do the December pay-per-view again next year, maybe that's his cutoff. Maybe he's like, all right, this is the last one for a while. I'll see you in 6 months. Or he'll come back at Wembley or something like that,
Well, and I mean, like, Full Gear is big. They've got the big shows in the summer with the All In and All Out. And I mean, he could come back at Double or Nothing or something. I mean, start from there. And because we know that Sting is retiring at Revolution, so maybe wait till the next pay-per-view because it's not that far off. And
and I mean, we can also
that way you're not overlapping your retirement time too much.
Yeah, and we could see Danielson, maybe he decides to go ahead and do the G1 next year because of how injuries have been playing out. Maybe he's like, you know what, this is my only chance to do it. Or maybe 2024 is just focused with that. And maybe in 2025, he does G1 that year and that's his focus. And that's where he spends, because that's a grueling 3-week tournament. So maybe 2025, he's like, you know what, I'll just do the G1 this year. Maybe I'll do a couple of AEW pay-per-views. Maybe I'll come and do All In and All Out and then take some more time off. And so maybe he just, I know he has so many things he wants to get done, but then, he's suffered 2 major injuries this year. And I'm sure that definitely weighs on him, especially with, his oldest child, wanting him home every day. So I think there's a lot to think about, but I also know that, Danielson's obviously a big competitor, and it's really, I mean, just for wrestlers in general, obviously we know like retirements usually don't last and they always come back.
Pro athletes don't. It's
right.
When this is all you've done and all you've known for a really long time, it's really hard to step away and not be because what are you when you're not that thing anymore?
Right.
I used to have to, like, as a youth coach, I used to have to bring my parents down to earth a lot and be like, hey, listen, I used to give them, because NFL is a really easy example. There's only 1,500 guys on an NFL roster.
Yeah.
There's tens of thousands of kids in college playing Division I ball. Like, manage your expectations, because the reality of the situation is, even if they get to that point, they are going to not be able to play anymore, and they are going to, or they may not be able to make it into the big leagues, as it were. And so I think sports, there's a reason there's sports psychologists out there that actually handle this exact thing, is because, and he's fortunately, someone like Bryan Danielson, who is like, probably has read like every book ever and is just waiting for new ones to come out.
Right.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
He's not a dumb dude. He knows what he's doing. So, I don't think, the fact that he never thought he was able to come back and then he got a second chance and was able to come back, I think is something he's grateful for. And I really feel as though he will like end this up and be a happy dad and help them out. And he'll be like the Regal of he'll be that dad, he'll be, hopefully, AEW really pulls it together and starts picking up the sales and stuff again. And then we start seeing like Bryan Danielson's everyone's dad.
Yeah, right. That would be, that would be really
he's
cool.
I don't know, he seems like a natural fit to that. That seems like something that he would just do.
You would excel at.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And so while we're on the topic of injury, so we'll circle back to AEW, but because we were talking about injuries, I wanted to bring up, there was another injury on Thursday at the Impact tapings. They are currently in the UK doing some shows over there. And so this Thursday's Impact is going to be the show that was filmed last Thursday in Scotland. It was in Glasgow. And so there may have been an update since then, but I haven't heard anything since then. So the most recent information I have was that Alex Shelley wrestled Thursday night at the tapings and he was injured. I have not heard the severity. Friday night, he was supposed to wrestle in England, and it was supposed to be Motor City Machine Guns versus Brian Myers, and I think Moose was who it was supposed to be against. And then Kaz came out as Chris Sabin's partner, and it wasn't really announced why. And then it came out afterwards that Alex Shelley suffered an injury the night before. He was seen limping. Nobody knows the severity of the injury at this, or at least by the time I had heard about it, nobody knew what the severity was. He did retain the Impact World Championship at Bound for Glory, so he is currently the champion. He's supposed to have a really big match at Hard to Kill. He's actually supposed to be wrestling Moose at Hard to Kill. Moose is cashing in his Feast or Fire, Feast or Fire briefcase, and so he's already Bound for Glory. They pretty much were just going ahead and calling their shots because Hard to Kill will be the first pay-per-view in January. It'll be the first pay-per-view under the rebranded TNA banner. So they're kind of like in a transitional phase right now where they're still like, we already know, like it's kind of like WrestleMania, like where we know what the big matches are going to be at that show. So Hard to Kill is kind of taking on that type of thing. And so, yeah, I haven't heard anything else. So hopefully it's nothing too serious for Alex. Hopefully it's just something where they're just trying to give him some time to rest and, let swelling go down if there's anything like that. And hopefully it's not anything that he needs surgery for, but
the injury bug needs to GTF out of here.
Yes.
I'm sick of the injury bug, both on my fantasy squad and in my fake fighting.
My fantasy squad. I need y'all to get it together over here.
Actually, you know what though? In fairness, your like epic comeback has been fun to watch, and I am like.
And then I lost last week.
I had to play the boom. 2 weeks in a row. So I played James last week. I'm playing Kevin Ely this week, and I really need to beat him because that could put me behind Mr. Jeremy there.
Oh no. Yeah, last week I may have come a little bit closer. Had Metcalf was a game time decision and he was the 425 game, and so I was doing podcast things. I didn't see that he ended up he didn't start, and so I got 0 points for that. And then in my other league he was also hurt and I lost by like 1.5 or something like that. And I was like, had I known that and everything kept saying he's probably going to start. So I was like, I'm just going to leave him because if they think he's going to start, then I'll just leave him. And no, So I lost last week in my other league, like by 1.5 points because of that. And then I forget what it was in Fight Game Media, but it was a lot because of that. So I was like, hopefully this week I can come
No,
back a
I
little
am.
bit.
I'm actually gonna have to talk a little trash and say that I kind of kicked his ass a little bit because
Good.
I think sometimes he forgets like how many things because he's. I mean, I'm totally taking advantage of how busy I know that he is, but I mean, it doesn't
I
matter
mean,
because the
as
win's a
you should.
win, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I mean,
Still counts
I got the
on your
W.
record.
I really like. I've never used. It had been a long time since I played, but I have never used the ESPN platform before. I really or Yahoo Sport. We're using Yahoo, right?
Yeah.
Are we? Yeah. I love this platform. It's
Me too. I
so much
prefer it.
better than like the information. I'm not like super in right now. I
Me
haven't
either.
been like up to date the ways that I have in the past.
Yeah.
But it gives me the information I need to be able to make like informed decisions about it. And I'm always
Yeah.
like, and it gives you like a sub running total of like what it's like, here's your points, but here's like the subtotal. And I'm like, this is amazing. I'm like,
Yeah.
love that
I
platform. Snaps to Commissioner Jeremy for the awesome
Yeah, because
platform.
they were like, where do you want to play it? I was like, I prefer for Yahoo. I was like, I haven't used ESPN for, I used to use ESPN for baseball, and I haven't used ESPN for baseball in years because we use Yahoo, and I prefer Yahoo. And I was like, and it's nice because all my stuff is right there. And so when baseball was overlapping with football, I could just go in and set
Oh,
all
nice.
three.
Yeah, you can just flip back and forth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could set up all my teams that, it was easy. But yeah, I prefer Yahoo. I like
Oh,
the
I love
way
it. I think it's a great
things up.
platform. I highly recommend it for your fan. I hope, I mean, if it's as good for other fantasy sports as it is for fantasy football, then I totally recommend it. It's a lot of fun because
Yeah.
it's so much easier with it because I've been able to make, I picked up the funny, like it's so much. I'm glad that I'm just not like kind of playing very casually because it's a
Yeah,
lot more fun. And I love this group that we're playing with. And
me too.
I picked up Monster early in the season because I really
I
needed a
have him
running
in my
back.
other league.
And he put up like 45 points one week. And I was like, that's the most points anybody's ever put up on any
I
of my
still, no
teams
matter where I finish
ever.
this season, putting 200 points putting up 200 points against Paul Fontaine is going to be, I'm going to talk about it forever.
There you go.
No matter where I finish.
You two, I love it. I love that you two have healthy discourse anyway, because you're kind of like not. I don't know if frenemies is the right way to say it.
No.
Because you guys really do love each other, so it doesn't matter. But it's
Right.
really cute to like listen to the Dynamite show when you're like, because when he reads your comments and stuff, and you guys have your little discourses that I love. I'm always like, Sam's there keeping people honest, and I just love it so much. And I gotta give it like you give it up to him for like having the like conversations, I love that.
No, I really appreciate like Paul, no matter whether we see eye to eye on things or not, like Paul's always up for listening and having a discussion. And even if we walk away still not agreeing with each other, like it's always respectful. And like I always like when I say like if I'm going to Paul about something, like it's never to attack him or anything like that.
Oh,
And he
no.
knows, and of course he knows that. And I know like whatever his response is not like, and like it's just it's just a discussion. And so I always like sometimes we don't see the eye to eye, it gets a little frustrating, and I'm sure I frustrate him too, but it's never anything like, it's always like really
So healthy.
respectful. Yeah,
It's
always
healthy.
really respectful, and like I'm like, all right, this is just something we're not going to agree on. We'll just move on to, cool. We'll just move on to the next thing. And so I really appreciate that. And Paul's great. I really, and of course I love Jeff too, and I love definitely love the Dynamite Show. And if you would like to listen to the Dynamite Show,
Yeah, I mean, we may as well. I mean,
they're live on Wednesday nights, right after Dynamite, usually like 10 or 15 minutes after it airs or it ends. They're on, and you can subscribe here to the YouTube channel if you're listening on the audio. Make sure that you're subscribed to youtube.com/FightGameMedia because that helps us. And then on Thursdays, we have speaking of Strong Style with Jeremy and Steven, and they always have such great information. And I can't wait. Steven went to the New Japan show last night in Vegas, and so I can't wait I can't wait for his response anyway, but there was a match that was announced for the Lone Star show. I don't think he's going to the Lone Star show, but I can't wait for his reaction because I haven't seen like the video that aired. I just saw the tweet announcing the match for Lone Star. And I couldn't believe, like, I was telling Nikki, I was like, because I saw the tweet before she did because it was in our group text. And I was like, I don't know if I should tell you which person I should tell you is in this match first. Because I was like, you're never in a million years going to guess this match. And so Toriano is facing Joey Janela in New Japan at the Lone Star show. And I was like, is this a spring break match? This sounds like where this match would happen. And so it's like, I can only imagine, like, I don't know if there's any stipulations. I would imagine there are. I was like, I can only imagine because Joey has been getting, because GCW is obviously, they've been going to Japan and he's been doing death matches over there and he's been getting a lot of positive feedback from the Japanese fans who are into that type of stuff. So it's like to go from hardcore to like Toriano stuff, I was like, it'll be really interesting to see. And I was like, and I know that Steven is not a fan of Yano because he remembers Yano before he was this version of Yano, and so he's not really a fan of this type of stuff. I don't know how he feels about Joey Janela, so I was like, I can't wait to hear his reaction on Thursday.
Nice. Yeah,
so
I really
want to hear that reaction. Definitely make sure that it's 5:30 p.m. Eastern time on Thursdays on this network. And then if you're a Patreon subscriber, if you're in the $10 tier, you will get the audio from this show and you'll get the audio from Speaking of Strong Style as well. And then we also do the monthly hangouts with we invite the patrons can come in and come hang out with what other hosts are available. We just had our first one 2 weeks ago and it was a lot of fun. We had a like a 10 or 15 minute love fest for Filthy Tom Lawler. It was just unplanned.
He went as Carmi from The Bear. I don't know if you saw that online.
No.
But, and I'm a fan of the show that is called The Bear.
Yeah, Nikki and I, that's on me and Nikki's watch list. Like she keeps talking about how we need to watch it. So that's on.
Oh my God. It's such a good show. It is so, and I mean, it's incredibly relatable for me for like both reasons, like both of its themes. So, I mean, now it's, but I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to blow it up. I want it to stand on its own, but he went as the main character and I was like, oh, that is dope. That's the best costume ever.
I missed that picture. I did see, and so he got to see Filthy Tom wrestled last night. He wrestled Gabe Kidd, and I saw that. Apparently Gabe Kidd won because Shining Wizard drew, because I don't know if you follow them, but they draw wrestlers. They use a pin to draw them, and the phenomenal. And if I'm not mistaken, I want to say he's related to Chris Charlton. I could be wrong in that.
I might follow them, but if not,
the reason I thought so, he drew Gabe Kidd pitting Tom, and Tom was like, tell the people that he beat me with some rabies infested piece of metal or something like that. So I was like, oh, Tom, Filthy's the best. I love that guy.
John Moxley at OTT finally. He made good.
Yeah, I saw that he finally got an out, or that he finally.
He was there yesterday, and I even got a good because they were close, so I got a good picture of at what he described as he's a very sweaty man who apparently he had a tramp stamp of his opponent's blood on him at some point. So it was
right.
He had a good old fashioned. Although I did enjoy the story, and I mean I hate to like laugh at someone's pain, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. There apparently was a lady there that didn't understand that she thought she was seeing fake fighting, and she didn't understand that was a possibility in a fake fight. So she was a little like disconcerted about the situation, and it was
boy. And she's not expecting blood, and she's seeing a John Moxley match.
I know. I'm like, but see what, like, we're kind of like trolly people. We like go to horror movies to like lean into the jump scares to scare the normies.
Yeah.
So so he's like, I mean, as long as she's not traumatized for life, which I'm sure she's not.
Right.
I find it funny that people like there's this whole contingent of humans out there that just don't know what they're getting themselves into.
No. And yeah, it is fake fighting, but like the great Paul White says, you can't fake gravity. He said that quote like 10 years ago, and I still bring it up all the time. Like, you
That's
can't.
the perfect quote. That's way better than JR's quote. That's perfect.
Yeah, he's like, you can't fake gravity. Like, this stuff hurts. Like, we are jumping off of things and falling down, and
hype train behind me.
yes, so
it's so true.
So we'll bring it back to AEW. So one of the things I wanted to talk about this weekend, I mentioned it briefly, so I was super excited. So Rampage has been having some really good matches the last few weeks, and I'm very glad about that. A, because I cover it, and I like having things to write about, and not having to scramble. What am I going to write? 300 words doesn't sound like a lot, but when you don't really have anything to talk about, like 300 words,
it's tough some weeks. I don't know how you do it.
It's a required minimum for fan-sided. Like, so I cannot submit an article that is under 300 words. And so some Rampages is very hard. But lately, they've been having some really good stuff, which is what we've wanted. Like, so people, now we're getting to the point where, why is this match happening on Rampage? First of all, you complain that Rampage doesn't have enough, and this is why they get killed in ratings by SmackDown. So then they try to give you better matches, and now you're complaining that it's on Rampage.
Well, they're complaining because they've stopped watching Rampage, and now they have to get back in the habit of watching Rampage again, or shut up.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm seeing that all over the place where it's like, but I stopped watching Rampage, and it's like, I kind of stopped, but I really didn't. I'll watch it Saturday morning, or we'll watch it like Saturday before Collision sometimes.
Usually Saturdays or Sundays, they'll come back and
we'll watch it like the hour before Collision starts or something a lot.
Yeah,
but like the last couple weeks have been really good. They've had really good matches on, so we've been trying to watch live. We watched live this week.
Yeah, because I mean, well, the opening match this week was Ortiz versus Santana.
Right, that was why
and that was huge. And so one of the other and so with Rampage, they've also had women main eventing more often on Rampage, which is appreciated. And so this week we had they did a 4-way, and the winner would get a shot at Sheeta the following night live on Collision. So this week it was, and people. Well, we'll get to that. So it was Anna Jay versus Sky Blue versus Willow versus Abaddon. Nikki saw Abaddon before I did on the little graphic, and I was so excited because we've been talking about how do you utilize your women's division? Utilize people that you don't have. Abaddon hasn't been on TV they said how long, but it's been like months since Abaddon was on TV. And I know apparently they were out because they had surgery, which apparently not a lot of people knew about, and so they weren't doing a very good job of telling you where Abaddon was. But then if you watched a couple episodes ago, I was talking about how Abaddon had a casket match with Matthew Palmer on the Revolver show. They ended up putting that match up for free on YouTube.
Awesome.
Match was really cool. So I was really glad to see Abaddon back on TV. I was like, finally, we're getting some fresh faces we haven't seen in a while. And so Abaddon got the win, which course led to people, they're like, oh, well, they're only using them because it's Halloween. Probably.
I mean, probably. That is probably
You're probably not wrong. However, but the pop that Abaddon got Friday night and last night, people are paying attention to Abaddon. People enjoy what Abaddon does. They got a nice pop both nights. They got chance. There were people, I saw so many people on Twitter who were talking about Abaddon, and then one thing that I really appreciated, they were using the proper pronouns for Abaddon. Abaddon uses they them, and I was very pleased with how many people I saw talking about Abaddon,
including using the broadcast team.
Nice. Excalibur is very he did this when Abaddon was on YouTube. He will just use Abaddon. He typically won't use the pronoun.
Usually.
Perfectly fine. But I've noticed it, and so I noticed he was still doing that. But so for the most part, Twitter, the AEW Twitter account did use the feminine pronoun, and I was like, I mean, and I think it is maybe their nickname is the Living Dead Girl, so I think that throws some people off. But I
Well, and they
appreciated.
wrestle in the women's division, so I think it's
Well,
something
they
that
have
people
to
are.
because there is no there. It's you know they Max the Impaler talks about it a lot that there's because there are gendered divisions. Max the Impaler wrestles with the women as well, and they are also non-binary and use they them pronouns. Sunny Kiss uses the she her pronouns, and so but so I appreciated that, and I wanted to throw that side note in. But I was really glad to see Abaddon not only get the spot and to get a new fresh face on TV that we haven't seen in a while. Sheeta got some because Sheeta has wrestled Ruby Soho like 5 times.
Yeah.
Their match on Dynamite was not that good. They both had an off night, which happens. It happens in the men's division all the time, but it
Yeah.
happens in the women's division as well. So it was nice to see somebody different that we haven't seen in a while. I mean, yes, it was the fright. What was it? The fright night something or other. But it was a
Yeah,
fun.
it was a gimmicky, weird
Yeah, and it was fun. Like
Halloween.
I
It
thought
was a Halloween theme match. It's fine.
yeah, it was fun. I thought it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. It seems that Abaddon has changed their presentation a little bit. They're not doing the blood dripping from the mouth. They're not crawling to the ring anymore. They've kind of changed up
I
what they're
honestly think they
doing.
look freaking awesome. I loved the
Yeah, they
look.
look
The
great.
makeup, that is like a lot of work. People like I
Yeah,
know makeup artists, I know body painters. That's special. Like that takes time. That's detail.
yeah, yeah,
That's
it
right
really does.
on.
Yeah, and I have, we've advocated too for maybe seeing if they weren't going to use Abaddon on TV to put Abaddon in ROH. Like that's a brand new, like you're trying to rebuild this women's division, get some new faces in there. And we've seen, Danhausen got super over and at the end of the Sinclair era. Somebody else we were talking about it the other night, and they were like, Maxie Impaler got really over in the women's division at the end of the Sinclair era as well. So Abaddon could be a perfect fit. And so I hope now that they're back from surgery, I'm also obviously when it comes to the women's division, I'm always just cautiously optimistic because I've been burned very many times, we all have. And so but I will talk about the positives when they happen. So I thought the match was a lot of fun. Abaddon looked great. They had a 10-minute match. They got time. Sheeta looked great. Sheeta clearly had fun with what they were doing, and it's something kind of out of the ordinary for her. She obviously doesn't do a whole lot of gimmicky matches and things like that. And I thought they both looked great. And I really enjoyed it. And I'm hoping this just means that Abaddon I saw tweet Friday night after they won and said, I see the love and I feel it. So they were seeing all the tweets excited and they hearing the pops. And so I'm hoping Tony heard that and hope that translates into either more Rampage matches or on ROH or something like that. I just hope they
ROH
utilize
seems like such a good fit. It just seems like a no-brainer to me. Just even
yeah.
if they go crossover to AEW like all the ROH other people do, that would be fine. Because it's TV time, and the point is like the biggest point is that they got on TV.
Yeah.
Even I don't care which show it is. That's still a live. It's a live AEW tape, like or TV show. It's a live audience. I know it's taped on Wednesday after, but regardless, like in general.
Even last night, they still got the live match on Collision. Right. They got 2 matches in a row on TV.
It's worth it. And I think people were into it. People seemed really into it. So
yeah, they did. So I'm hoping, that Tony
it takes you
heard it.
It's Mohegan Sun, man. They could have been gambling, but they were seeing wrestling show instead. So
this is true. This is very true.
Such a silly. It's just so funny because I know like where that is, so it's hilarious to me every time I hear it. I'm like,
sure, the Young Bucks are over there gambling because that's what they like. That they're always gambling. If you watch BTE, if there's somewhere where they can gamble, that's a good chunk of a BTE episode.
There's so many places up and down the Eastern Seaboard that are like weird like that. The West Coast has them too. There's a hilarious one out west, the EQC that's out in Seattle that Jim Valley and I have joked about before, but it's always cute when it's these tiny little ones because they're kind of like they're like a boutique gambling / like event facility type space, and it's in a weird place in Connecticut, and it's like Whatever. That's
What a
fine.
perfect place for a wrestling show.
I mean, Connecticut needs something. It's so boring
Fair.
and long. It takes forever to drive through. Whatever. I mean, no beef with Connecticut or anything.
Mel's got the hot take stuff. If any of you from Connecticut, her is. Oh, do you
That's
like
that's my hot apple cider take about Connecticut. Here, let me just put my at right up here. Just
now, if you have any,
right here.
if any of you are from Connecticut, I don't know what the term is. Connecticut. I don't know what they call them. Like
Connecticutans.
Yeah, Connecticutans. If that's not what it is now.
That actually sounds like something like that. Sounds like a superhero. Connecticut. Anyway.
So we're
you do what I do. I like to make fun of other states from that part of the country that I'm also from. So because it's all love, and
yeah,
you got to pronounce it.
I'm
pronounce it Connecticut. So. You guys give out to each other down there.
Yeah, I was like, I'm in the South. That's what we do. We make fun of each other.
It's South Carolina and Tennessee and all the other places around there. Georgia.
Listen, it's all of us against Florida usually.
Well, that makes but that's doing it right. I mean, I think
we're like, why is Florida in the South? Like they're not even. They're just down there doing their own thing.
Oh, Florida.
Now they're trying to spread it to other parts of the country, but that's a whole other topic for not a wrestling show.
Not a wrestling show.
Not a wrestling show. We are going to get back to wrestling though. So we're talking about ROH with Abaddon. So that'll lead us right into ROH from this week. So the big thing that happened on ROH this week, of course, revolving around our star, Athena. Athena she was in a tag match with Billy Starks against Diamante and Mercedes Martinez. They've been kind of feuding back and forth the last few weeks. 2 weeks ago, Mercedes and Diamante attacked Athena and Billy after their match. They attacked them out on the ramp. And of course, Athena was livid with that. She was saying that she's going to send Mercedes back into retirement, going to put her back in a home.
Oh my goodness.
This is
getting serious.
Athena has been on she's on another level. She's a little, maybe not so nice to certain people. And so they had a really great match. I think it was like 10 minutes. And, we saw Billy kind of got, Athena's wearing off on her a little bit. There are times when she does I think somebody says she does a violence. She does something a little mean and out of the ordinary. And Athena will applaud her a little bit, and then she'll be like, all right, not too much. Like, I can't let her think I'm really happy with her. She's
right.
She still sucks. She's still a minion in training.
Don't let her get too big for her britches.
Yeah, absolutely can't do that. So Athena was like, they took out Athena, and while Athena was down, they had Billy Starks in the corner and it wasn't quite a doomsday device, but it was kind of along those lines. They pinned Billy Starks. That gave Athena her first loss in ROH. Wow. So Athena was livid. She took down Diamante. She's going back and forth with Mercedes. Mercedes has the title. She's holding it in air, and she's like, I never got my rematch because last year at Final Battle, Athena beat Mercedes to become champion. Obviously, we still see she's as a champion. She's 41-0 in singles matches in ROH. Obviously, she has the one loss in AEW, but so she's still right, so she was enraged. Mercedes is like, so they seem to be hinting because we've got Final Battle is December the 15th. It appears that this is where this is going. Athena is finally going to give her rematch. Actually, no, I take that back. I believe they filmed I take that back. They filmed it last night. I forgot that I saw Athena talking about it. So that
film a rematch
Thursday. Still won't be surprised if something happens, with them at Final Battle. But so then backstage, Athena is Billy was talking with Lexi Nair, who is also a minion in training. It's the three of them are Athena's little family. And so Billy's like, I didn't mean for that to I didn't mean for her to lose. Like, it's not my fault and all this stuff. So Athena comes in and is screaming at her, like on top of Billy, like just yelling at her and telling her she's terrible and she sucks and she's the reason she lost. And then, like, I have a quote from her. She says, Starks would be on Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision, being the 18-year-old sensation that loses every match. But here I am trying to build you up and pull you up out of the gutter like the trash that you are, to be something special. And just like, it was brutal. Like, Athena was like, she can be nasty, but like that was a whole other level. We've never seen Athena like that. It pissed Lexi off. Lexi was getting mad at what Athena was saying to her, and like, Ian was like, you can't talk to an 18-year-old like that. Like, what is wrong with her? And like, you can't do that. So Athena storms off, and Billy's crying, and like Lexi's hugging her, and like it's not your fault, and just trying to console her. So like, it was a really well done moment. Like, I think that it just, for all three of them, like Athena just added another layer of her character. I thought Billy did really well in that spot. So did Lexi. Perhaps, I don't know how soon they're going to do Billy turning on Athena, because clearly that's where this is all headed.
Right, of course.
for Billy
it seems pretty obvious. I'm not watching.
Yeah, so so maybe this is our final battle match. I don't know if they'll do it as soon as Final Battle, or if maybe we'll see. So I don't know. Like, it'll be interesting to see if Billy came out with Athena for her match with Mercedes. Like, if she's out there with her, if she's seemingly forgiven her. How Athena reacts to her, or if Athena just like continues to not. I'm sure there was some minion and training stuff that they did this week, a little more brutal. Maybe she sent her on a hike with Yuta.
Oh, good Lord.
So if Billy Starks is very much going to get the Yuta treatment, I think, after that. But it was really well done. And so, yeah, I think that's probably our story heading into Final Battle. And if it's not at Final Battle, I think it'll be pretty soon after it. I don't know. I mean, maybe they are building Billy up to be the champion. I don't see anyone else. I mean, Mercedes is an obvious choice, but I don't think that's what they're doing here. And so it'll be interesting if they have Athena drop the title to Billy, or if Athena just stays your forever champion and holds it into next year. So it'll be really interesting to see how that works out. But it's a lot of fun with the stuff that they're doing, and just watching seeing Athena do these different things, and then seeing Billy like just basically, like we talked about before, like just learning right underneath her. So it's fun.
Do you think Billy's ready to take over? I mean, if they wanted to do that?
At this point, I would say no, and that's nothing against Billy. I think she's phenomenal. I was a fan of hers before.
Yeah, of course. No, I'm a huge fan. Like,
it's just because of the way Athena has been built up. I don't know that Billy is the answer. I think that Billy will be a great champion. The way that they've been, I do think that Billy turns on her, and I do think Billy faces her for the title. I just don't know that she beats her yet.
Yeah.
Maybe they do it here, and then either they do a rematch on an AEW pay-per-view, which is possible, or because that's the thing with Ring of Honor. There's only 3 actual pay-per-views, and so the next pay-per-view is not until March when they do Super Card of Honor. So it's possible that Billy wrestles her at Final Battle and loses, and then they go through maybe they do a several month feud, and they do like some non-title matches, and Billy gets the win over her and can prove that she can beat Athena, and then maybe at Super Card of Honor is where she finally wins the title from her.
It'd be way bigger, and it would give her like 7 months more or 6 months more experience.
Like that. So I think that would be the smart way to do it. And I think
that'd be huge. I mean, it would be huge.
Yeah,
that's a big one. I mean, the Super Card of Honor is like they're one of it's right around. It's WrestleMania weekend. So.
Yeah, I would say it's like 2 days before Mania usually, or the day before. Actually, last year it was the same day. They did it. It was early, or no, it was Friday, and then they did night 1 of Mania. So yeah, it's always Mania weekend.
Yeah, when we were there, I mean, that's why we went to Mania. It was the day before. Yeah, so
right.
We were like, what the hell? We'll see if we can get some tickets. And
if they could cut in and have like. Because, they always try to do like a big moment before Mania weekend. Yeah. And so if they have Athena losing her title WrestleMania weekend and having it and putting it on Billy Starks, I think that would be a huge story. I don't know how far in advance. And I know that they do a lot of stuff with AEW. I don't know what they're booking, what their
Yeah, I
plans
don't
are
know.
for ROH. It always seems like they're not quite so sure. But if I were in the booking position, that's how I would handle it.
I like that idea better. I hope that they don't go too early because she's a good talent, and I think she has a lot of potential. I think she could be really awesome.
Absolutely. Like, I think she's definitely a good, like, she would, Billy, I think would be a great champion.
I hope they do it.
I
like your booking. So
thank you.
Yeah. We're full of good ideas, folks. Free ideas every Sunday at 1 p.m. right here on the Fight Game Media YouTube. Free ideas.
Exactly. Daza said, this was back to our conversation before this. Daza said he's fine with having a non-wrestling episode. We might have to do that at a different time for people who are not expecting a wrestling show.
We could. I mean, maybe we'll do a hangout show sometime.
Yeah. All right. I believe unless you want to, because I debated on, kept thinking about, we had a tricks and treats episode, what our tricks would be, and it would be the not so great stuff that happened this week. And then I was like, I don't know if I want to not bring that up because Dynamite Show already covered the gift for Sting.
Which was
not a good gift.
Did you time Julia Hart's appearance? That's all I could think of when I saw her come on and off. I was like, I hope Sam timed that because I want to make a joke.
I should have. Because
I wanted you to be like 3 seconds and just kind of as a big giant finger to the timeline.
There we go. I should have done that. That would have been.
I said it out loud and I was like, "There's a joke here somewhere." And Bob was just
right.
Like, I'm like, yeah, I am. So yes, definitely. But
So that was the thing that happened this week, and apparently Rick is gonna be around through Revolution doing stuff. So
whatever. It stings. I almost said funeral. I retirement.
Well, Christian says it is.
I mean, it's whatever. It's his retirement, but I don't need that guy on my TV.
I don't either.
I don't like Jim talked about yesterday and on his Observer Live about have they lost the plot a little bit? And I think that there's an actual argument to be had there where it's they were so much better when they were about being for the love of wrestling and being for the love of putting on good matches and putting their young talent. I mean, I'm okay with this Edge and Christian thing. I mean, we had this discussion last night because it's I get these right off into the sunset things, but you can't do it at the expense of the whole entire show.
Well, and so I've gone back and forth with that too, and I will agree, and this is not because listen, I'm not a Jeff Jarrett hater. I don't really. In the role that he's been fine. It's fine. Sometimes I'm like, why is he on TV when this could be somebody else? But he's in the office and he's in on the booking stuff, and that's when a lot of this stuff started changing. Is they need to get him out of that. I was like, your focus wasn't he brought in to do live stuff? Your ticket sales suck.
Yeah, they do.
Get out of booking and go start booking your wrestlers on local media every week, because that they've shown so far that's how they've been selling tickets, is by having the wrestlers go on local media, because they did it in Texas. And granted, Mystico sold he moved after they announced him, that moved 2,100 tickets, because Mystico is a big deal and he's WWE dropped the ball so heavily with him. But Mystico is still, from things I'm reading from people who closely follow CMLL, he's a huge star. And so booking him, was really smart to move tickets. Then they sent, and it's the same thing with Grand Slam. They sent MJF out to a whole bunch of media shows. They sent Chris Statlander because she's from Long Island. So they sent her to do some stuff. utilize your talent and go send them to local media and sell tickets to your show. Stop booking WCW slash Impact or slash TNA slash Global Force Wrestling, like all this stuff. And this is not to say that Jeff Jarrett is not a smart man. He is. Like, I'm not trying to take anything away from his. He clearly has he has a good mind for business, but you've got to expand it into 2023. And that's where you're losing fans because, and I saw JD call it this yesterday. He said he was done with AEW. And he has a point.
You can't really argue it. There's a couple of even the package. There was a package on Friday night that was very like, this is just WWE. I mean,
and I don't know how much of it is Warner Brothers because they see what works for WWE and think, okay, well, this will translate here, and they're not remembering that AEW is supposed to be the alternative. And we've talked about this before, like, you can't say no to Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole and at the time CM Punk before all the other stuff. Like, you can't, and Ruby Soho, like, you can't say no to these big names. But that's when everything started to change as far as how they were booking shows. And then it's become, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with signing forward WWE talent, especially a lot of them who are misused. Like, I still hope we see like Mustafa Ali. I would love to see him in AEW, but they have got to get away from that type of storytelling and go back to, like, I think about that all the time. I'm like, what would have happened if they had focused, like when they were keeping their focus, and like, what if it was like your tag team division is like Butcher and the Blade, and it's Santana and Ortiz, obviously pre their falling out, and then there's Best Friends, and like Best Friends should have been champion 2 years ago.
They have a lot of really good. Yeah, they have a lot of really good. They used to have a like consistent tag team division that was like rolling through. They have FTR. They have, I mean, there's so many.
Yeah, I don't think there's just one answer. I think there's a lot of things that they have to do differently. And that's not to say, like, AEW still does some really great things, and I will still watch them over watching WWE. However, there are things that annoy me and things that I'm like, what would have happened if these big names hadn't come in and they continued to push some of these names who weren't, like, what if they continued to push Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss, and they continue to push like these other people. And I do, of course, Danielson adds so much to like these people add so much to the show. And I get that, but like
he felt like he melded in more than he did like come in to change like the culture. It feels like the culture of the product has changed.
Yeah.
It's become less about, I mean, I guess this is the nature of the business, obviously, is that it has to be marketable, and TV is in a volatile place right now and all of these things. And but I mean, their ratings were better when they were doing what they were good at, which was introducing me to new, or, being able to see Orange Cassidy on a big, like on a television network, and pushing Darby Allin, pushing some of their newer talent. And
when like we've seen the when that was supposed to be the stuff we were seeing with like Wardlow and Hobbs, and then
there you go.
They were like stopping, and there's both of them have had so much starting and stopping. I mean, some of it with Wardlow obviously was not his fault. There was the whole MJF situation on the biggest night of his career, but then he wins the belt, and then like they don't use him. And then, of course, I believe he did, and he kind of alluded to it last week that, like, he did take time off because there were rumors that he's taken time off for some mental health issues, and he kind of alluded to that last week, which, of course, like, please do that. And so maybe in the first time that he dropped and he left for a little bit, maybe that is why he was off TV and we just didn't know that. But from a storyline perspective, it just, and the same thing with Hobbs, like it's always been start and stop. And it seems like he's kind of getting into a good pace with this stuff with the Don Callis family. But it's just, and there's a very good chance of bringing in Will Ospreay. I mean, Ospreay sounds like he's checking out, it doesn't sound like a few months ago, it sounded like AEW was it. But now it sounds like he's like, I don't know, like I just remodeled a kitchen and like with my.
Well, he's got himself an agent. He's a good one. And I mean, he looks like from all this, he looks like he's looking for his retirement money.
Yeah, which
his
is
pension.
understandable because especially the style that he has. I mean, he's kind of toned it down a little bit, but the style that he wrestled for years, especially as a junior, like he was reckless, and he
resisted toning it down for a long
he
time.
really did. And so now he's kind of like, he even said the other day, he was like, I've had to change things a little bit. And he was like, I have to. And now like the woman he's with has a child. And so I think that has changed his perspective as well. And it sounds like, he's trying to make sure that he's making decisions with them in mind. And, he is based in the UK, and that's where his home is. This is where, and apparently because he wrestled at the Impact shows, and one of the writers for was there for SE Scoops, and he was like, oh, I have an announcement to make, and he said I was scrambling to get my phone because I was like, well, what if he's, and then he said my kitchen is finished. So we were joking that like, because a friend and I, we were talking about how like New Japan has had, in Japan their economy has not been the greatest either, and that's why they didn't necessarily couldn't keep Aussie open because they couldn't pay them. But then we were like, but for Will Ospreay, like that's probably somebody that you try to do whatever you can to sign him. And I was like, pay for the man's kitchen and he'll probably stay.
And he's even expressed, apparently, I was reading, because they had the whole section in the Observer this week where he talked about the fact that he was now willing to relocate, which he hasn't been willing to do up until now. So
yeah, and
that makes a huge difference too.
So assuming Ospreay comes in next year, like, so then that's another big name that, and again, I'm not saying you say no to somebody of that caliber.
No, obviously not.
But it obviously it changes.
But then you need to push those people. Like you should be pushing. They are pushing Jay White and Bullet Club more, which is good. I think that's at least something that kind of is rooted in the original AEW, was like, because those people all were Bullet Club and all of those things. So
yeah, right.
But I don't know. I still have a personal conspiracy theory that the real reason Cody left was because Phil Brooks was coming in, and
he has shot that down. So he said it had nothing to do with him, and they've already.
I know, but he's never going to tell, and we're never going to know.
No,
for sure.
I don't think it's Punk at all. I think it's something that happened with Tony.
I mean, I think it's something that happened with Tony, but I don't think Punk helped. Is what I think.
I don't think Punk had anything to do with it.
And I think it wasn't like necessarily the person. I think it was the idea of like altering. I just think they didn't see. I mean, this is so wild speculation time, but I mean, I just think that they didn't see eye to eye on the direction of the company, and in a lot of ways, it's looking like maybe Cody wasn't wrong.
But I don't think you can. It was not. I think there's so many things that it's not just the.
I don't blame.
No, I'm just saying. I think because I think it's hard to point to, and that's what I've gone back and forth with. Like, it's hard to point to one time. Like, what one there? I don't think there was one thing that caused it. Like you again, because like we've talked about, like you can't say no to Bryan Danielson.
Yeah,
you can't say no to Adam Cole. But then bringing those guys and even CM Punk and other people, like you can't bring those guys in and then like not use them or push, Jack Perry over. I wasn't even thinking about it. I was just thinking of a young guy. You can't push Jack Perry over, say, Bryan Danielson or Adam Cole. Like you've got to use them and utilize them, but then you're doing it at the expense of Kip Sabian.
He actually was really good this weekend. Actually, I'm not usually a Kip Sabian fan, but he was really good this week.
Yeah, I've been a fan of Kip Sabian from the beginning, and so I'm really happy to see. And like we did get. I forgot to mention this when we talk about Rampage and ROH. We got Mark Briscoe back this week.
Yeah, that was awesome.
He didn't actually end up having a match. He just kind of got in Kip's face a little bit. So I assume. I don't know if I hope he was at taping. I don't know if he was on the ROH tapings yesterday. He's back just in time for Final Battle season. So you have your guys like your Kip Sabians and your, these guys that you were supposed to be pushing, and now they've gotten, and so then you release Sunny Kiss, and things like that. You release, and they haven't been using. I think Red Velvet may have been injured, but she's been kind of teasing a comeback lately. But so you have these things. It's very hard to say. So I don't know if there is one particular, like maybe there was, I'm sure obviously the CM Punk signing did change clearly a lot of things, and and even had CM Punk not come in, I think we would still be having these issues as far as
I mean,
losing.
I think that's fair, but
I feel like, so it just feels like it was the perfect storm of like, there was the CM Punk stuff that happened. Then there's you bringing in Jeff Jarrett and giving him some booking stuff. Then they hired Jimmy Jacobs away from Impact, and that kind of brought in some things as well. And so, and then, you know, Chris Hero is there. And so they have these great people in the back, but it's, where does their input, and are they not doing like, I guess I don't want to say that they're outsiders, but I guess because they came in after AEW was, you know,
fundamentally established, we'll say.
Right. And it, like you said,
it had a core. It had a core group of people.
Yeah.
There were the main staples of the like this guy and this guy. And I mean, I think we all can like pick them out, like Kenny Omega and the Bucks, and you know, I mean, like the obvious ones. Cody.
Yeah, and even you can say even like Dustin. You can even say a guy like Dustin Rhodes.
Definitely. I think that's definitely true. Cody and Dustin and that freaking match was like, I mean, that was part. That's the AEW I want back.
Well, and you know, that's also, you can go back to the Dark Order and what Dark Order was then and what they've become now, and how like nobody cares about them now. They have completely like, and then it seemed like they were finally with Dark Order. Like, I'm still a fan of those guys. Like, I love those guys. And they had finally gotten, it seemed like they were finally giving them some sort of a storyline, because they have a Sue Grayson stuff. Sue Grayson hasn't been on ROH in weeks. I don't know if it's an injury thing or if he's taking time off, but then Dark Order can't, they're another group that they seem to start doing something with, and then they just stop. And
the start and stop thing seems to be the one thing that is the biggest issue, is like, so they did it with the Acclaimed.
Yeah.
They got so hot, they gave them the belts, they took them off. Now they're in this weird space where I'm like, what is happening right now? Like, you guys
got the weird
they almost have jumped the shark with what they're doing now. It's
right. And then now you have House of Black is back. Now we've got, like, thankfully, like, now we have LFI. Like, LFI came back last night, and I'm really excited to see what's going to happen with them. And like, LFI and House of Black could be a lot of fun. And they don't necessarily have to have belts, but like, you have these two factions, and then you've got the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn with the titles. And that's not to take anything away from them, but it's just a very weird thing. And then you've had, even since they've taken, like, Swerve clearly is on, like, I love the stuff they're doing with Swerve, but now Keith Lee's kind of like floundering a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with Keith Lee right now.
They seem like they brought Keith Lee. It looks like they're going to do something with Shane Taylor, which I'm excited for, because I love both.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
So it feels like maybe they finally have some kind of a direction. But now they're like, apparently there was a rumor I read yesterday that Thunder Rosa has been cleared for months, but Creative doesn't have anything for her. I'm like, she's a former champion who lost her title due to injury. That is your story. Shida now has the championship that you want. Like, that actually
would be, honestly, bringing Rosa back would be, that's like, you should be, I mean, that may be a Full Gear or something, but you should probably do that.
I was wondering, because people, because they were saying,
probably do that. You need to shake things up. Like, you need,
Full Gear would be great for her. Or even if they wanted, I would hope to see her back sooner. But I mean, now there's the pay-per-view in December. So they could potentially do, because they seem to be doing Shida versus Tony, which, I love both of them, but I don't want Shida to be a transitional champion once again. Like, and I think they're hot-shotting Tony into this position. And now they're taking away, like, and I love the Tony stuff. I think she's doing phenomenal work, but it feels like they're kind of just shoving her back into the scene. But you can't use Thunder Rosa? Like, that's insane to me, if that's true. And then, I was talking to a friend who was telling me about that, who sent me the link saying that, you know, that she's ready and all that stuff. And I was like, because they did the thing before Collision started, they showed her go and knock on Tony Khan's office door, and she goes in there, and it was right before Collision, because, you know, Andrade did the same thing. And then there were rumors that they were going to put Thunder Rosa with Andrade and do something, and then they were supposed to do the CM Punk stuff, and clearly, obviously, CM Punk's not there anymore, so Andrade's not been used as much. So I don't know if she was supposed to be with Andrade, if that kind of threw things off. But I was like, now you have, and I'm not saying to put like all the Hispanic wrestlers in one thing, but like, I'm like, you've got LFI, like, put you know, if you like, I just don't understand why there's not a place for Thunder Rosa if that's really true. Like she has a built-in story. She had to relinquish her title due to injury, and now she's working her way up through the division to get her title back.
Yeah,
like
that's the story. And it's a return of a star that, I mean, some people aren't as deep in as us. They don't know all the crap that goes on in the
right,
back that
right.
we
And then
find out
well,
about.
and you know, Britt hasn't been on TV. I do think it's because she's involved in the devil stuff. I think that if Adam Cole's not the devil, I do kind of buy into the theory that it is Britt.
Yeah, I'm with that.
I can see that it's probably one or two of those, perhaps. And I was like, if it's, I mean, maybe it's Thunder Rosa. Maybe that's how she gets brought back in. Maybe she's not necessarily the devil, but maybe she's involved with it, or maybe she's pulling the strings. To, you know, I mean, they could. Yeah, so I feel like if I hope that's not true that they don't have creative doesn't have anything for her because she has a very simple story that you could easily play out, and she doesn't have to win the title right away. Let her, because she has even said in interviews, I will work my way back up from the bottom to regain my title. That's your story right there.
That's a better story anyway.
Have Thunder Rosa come in and wrestle, you know, Layla Gray and Penelope Ford, and just to get her back in front of people. Have her wrestle Sky Blue and Willow Nightingale and work her way up. Maybe she doesn't go straight for Sheeta. Maybe she goes for Chris. Maybe she goes for the TBS championship first, and maybe that's where, because she's working her way up. Or maybe
that's a good idea. I like that. You know, that's used. That's very workable.
Yeah, and then you have her, maybe she does dethrone Chris. Maybe she holds the TBS championship for a while and gets where she's dominant again, and she's a force to be reckoned with in the women's division, and then she drops the title and you would hope put over somebody else. Maybe you put over a Ruby Soho who has been struggling with the storyline and how her booking has been, and then put her back in this picture for the main title that she never lost. she gave it up.
Yeah, fair. Yep.
In a backstage segment that fit on Twitter. So, or have her be bad. You know, I had to give up my title, and they didn't even have the decency to bring me to the ring, and I had to relinquish it in a backstage promo.
And she can make up her own belt like dude did, and she can be like, this is the actual belt.
Right, there you go.
See? They use that idea, so
see, we have good ideas.
That was just a simple one. They just did that one recently. They could just give it to her and do the same thing. She can be like, I didn't lose that fair and square. You don't get that. This is a real title.
Right. Yes, exactly. Well, and I guess even so,
make her lurk around and bother all the women because she wants her freaking title shot.
Yeah, and like even so. Should Tony win the title at some point, whether it's at Full Gear or right after, she could come for Tony and be like, you took the title, you were the interim champion, and you are not the true champion. I am. Like they could even, I don't necessarily want them to do that, but I mean, that's creative.
Something. I mean, it's something.
Yeah,
shake
exactly.
Up, get people moving.
Yeah. And so Daza said, I'm skipping more and more segments / matches on AEW, and while I still enjoy pay-per-views, the failure of the women's division in WWE tropes means I'm losing faith fast. And Daza, you're not, I'm hearing that from other people. I see it in my timeline where they're skipping stuff.
Well, the numbers show it, sadly. I mean, we're not a rating show. We don't talk about that stuff, but there is a reality to the fact that the numbers speak for themselves, and they are not selling things.
And I don't think it's time to panic. I think
it's not panicky, but it's concerning.
Right. But I mean, and JD has been one
to be aware of
that WWE numbers struggled for a while too when they started doing live stuff, and like in 95 their shows were doing the same thing. They were having a lot of problems filling arenas and things like that, and then he was like, it takes some time. Like the product is finally starting to catch up, but then it takes time to rebuild the selling tickets and things like that. And then they've got to think about like, we're coming into holiday season.
Well, they have gone up. Prices of tickets have gone up this year. They've gone up,
and so
and this is not a great. The economy sucks.
Yeah, so I can see this being an issue going into next year until things kind of once the holidays are over and people might be able to be a little bit more flexible or, there's tax refunds coming
Yeah, right.
in a
Maybe.
few
Yeah.
months into the new it's going to take some time to rebuild. So I think that they can I think the but they've got to some of it they've got to go back to their old stuff that worked before. They've got to look at what was working and maybe give some people less say on some things, and maybe that'll improve some stuff. But Daza, I'm glad that you said that because you're not the only one, and
I've
I do
heard
see
that
that a lot.
echoed as well. So
Yeah,
and I think the thing is that we all love this product and we want to see it succeed. We want to have the alternative. And
yes,
that's the biggest, the
100.
most important thing
Yes,
that people need to remember is that we're not like coming down on it because we don't like it. We're not coming down on it because we're trying to be mean. It's because we love it and want it to
right,
stay out there because it is
right.
clearly it's improved the wrestling environment and it's improved even WWE. I mean,
Yeah,
they
WWE has
can't
stepped up,
say
and
that they don't owe some of their like increases in the fact that there's more people watching wrestling.
right, and that's the thing is you want and we talk about this all the time. Competition is good for everybody.
Yes.
It forces them to raise their game. So even Impact, going back to TNA,
Yep.
people are talking about. I mean, they should be talking about them anyway because they have really good wrestling over there. And they're not the same TNA that they were 5 years ago. And so now people are talking about them because of TNA and stuff. But like as we talk about all the time, like the more wrestling there is, the more people have jobs because
Yes.
wrestling is there's only so much wrestling on TV. And so we want whether I don't watch WWE, but I want it to be successful because I want people to have a place to work. I
Right.
want AEW and Impact to be successful. I want NWA to be successful. I want MLW to be successful because I want more wrestlers to be able to get paid and paid well. I want you know staff to be I want staff to be able to be paid, and we want that that should be the goal of everybody is that you want wrestling to succeed because we love it and we want to see more of it. And so but yeah,
Exactly.
and that doesn't mean that you can't criticize those things because you don't we do, like you said, we want things to get better. We aren't complaining because we hate them. We're complaining because this is what we invest in hours every single week.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
We have a show
And
where we
it's
talk
given us
about it.
so much great stuff. Like all these,
Yeah,
even that Speedball and Osprey match recent. I mean, those kinds of
I've
things,
watched that
like the stuff
twice.
that we've been able to see over the last few years, because AEW exists. Like that's amazing. It's awesome. Like we need that momentum to stay that way. And so, like with it flagging, it does get scary, and you don't want them to take. I mean, obviously some people that are old enough that like, and I've now read like Brian's book on like that's WCW. I haven't read all of the books, but it's
Sure.
you just don't want to see it go that way. And
Yeah, we
I
don't,
mean they're way
on
more
the other hand,
responsible with money and all that
Impact is
stuff.
supposed to have gone out of business like 14 times, and they're here 20 years later.
Exactly. And they're doing great stuff over there. I mean,
They
we still
are.
record it and watched what we want to watch on there.
Yeah,
And
and I
I
thought,
mean,
yeah, I watch what I want to watch out of it,
we like
and there's
watching Trinity matches because we hadn't gotten to see her. We used to really enjoy Naomi. So, I
yeah,
mean, it was something that, like, for us, it's like, oh, yeah, Trinity's on here. Let's put that match on.
yeah, and they're doing some really good stuff over there. And like, of course, I'm loving like the Motor City stuff that they both have
Of
titles,
course.
and the women, the knockouts are killing it. I get to see Speedball every week, and I love ABC. Like I think they're fantastic. I really enjoy. There are some things in the product that I don't care for, but overall, like I
Yeah, but
really enjoy it. And like I think, and they're doing really good stuff, and it's just I'm glad that people are paying attention. And it took a TNA announcement to make some people pay attention, but hopefully they realize that Impact has made a lot of improvements in the last 5 years, and Scott D'Amore seems to really care about that company, and
yeah.
he done so much to improve it, to get it away from LOL TNA. And so yeah, it was kind of questionable, like why are you going back to the TNA brand when that, but like we said, there's a whole generation after us who TNA means something completely different to them,
Yeah.
and they don't see that. And like there was a really cool thing. So last week's Impact was mostly a recap of Bound for Glory, and they were showing clips and stuff like that. But one of the really cool things they showed at the end was the locker room's reaction to the TNA announcement, and they like lost it. Like
Oh,
they
that's
were
fun.
yeah, they were like freaking out, and like Trey Miguel like jumped up off the floor and was like so excited, like because a lot of them grew up watching TNA, and so to be able to wrestle under that banner is really cool. And so the moral of the story is we complain about things because we want it to get better, because we want wrestling to be around on TV, and we want more people to watch it, and we want people to have jobs.
Well, and we want there to be, we want the variety. We want to have more choices.
Yeah, we don't want to watch.
We don't want one choice.
No, no, we don't want one choice, and we don't want them to be carbon copies of the others.
Yes.
We want them to be different. WWE is good at sports entertainment. Let them do that. You were good at promoting, and you were good at wrestling and showcasing wrestling. You are good at storytelling, at long-term storytelling at that. Focus on that. Impact is good at have a balance of, you know, storylines and things like that, but they also focus more on the wrestling side of things. And so, you know, they're amazing at pushing women. They're really great about pushing their, you know, their cruiserweights and their you know, the next division. So they're really good at promoting that kind of stuff. So let them do what they do and like give us an alternative. And that's why I like them. That's why we watch so much, like not even just New Japan, but like so much indie wrestling, because I get a variety of things that I can't get watching, that I may not get watching AEW. You know, there's all these things, and like of course Speedball is obviously one of my favorites. So I like, if I can watch an indie show that he's on, I'm gonna go watch it because I want to see who else he's having a banger with. And so, you know, I just hope that they can kind of get, you know, AEW is going into their 5th year next year. And so they've got to recalibrate, I think, a little bit and figure out what's happening with how to get people to buy tickets again and how to get ratings back up. And, you know, they're probably, you know, it's hard. And obviously Rampage is never probably going to do 2 million on a Friday night, but that's okay. But, you know, give us.
I don't think anybody expects it to. I mean, I don't even think that the executives at Warner Brothers expect it to. I think they're happy that, like, if they get a 6-figure number on a Friday night during that time frame for an hour, I think they're pretty happy, because that's a lot of eyes on ads. That's all they're really concerned about.
It's enough that they gave them a 2-hour show on Saturday nights.
Right, exactly.
They're going up against college football for a good chunk of their year.
Yep.
So, and then, you know,
Rampage has actually had it's had its downs, but it's had its ups too. And I mean, it's silly for people. That million people number is such a it's such a weird metric that people, but it's like that doesn't even make sense for a company this size.
Yeah.
It's still this is still niche wrestling compared to WWE, and then that's a good thing. It's okay. Right. That's the draw. That's the fix. That's the feature. Like that's good. It's okay. That's great. It gives you the variety, and it encourages it. So
And before we go on to the horror thing, Nikki said, we're talking about the women, how we have the same four-way match over and over again, but they can't find room for Abaddon or Thunder Rosa. And then Nikki made a really good point that if Tony loses, it'll help her spiral more. So I hope that's what they do there. I do too. I hope she doesn't.
She's hilarious. I know a lot of people hate this. I think it's great.
I love it so much.
The only thing that bothers me, and I know they're doing it on purpose, is that I want to like see and hear the music a little more. I need to go on YouTube and just watch the features.
And I do one thing, and I kind of go back, like I agree to it. Like I think the silent films are really fun, but what got Tony over was her extremely dramatic promos, and she's not doing that. And so I think that kind of takes away from it. So I think maybe they should do some sort of a mixture. Like now we've gotten her last silent film. She has a butler now. It's Luther. We now know where Luther had been recovering from surgery. And this is how and he had been in the Spanish Announce project with Serpentico and Helico. And it was funny because he's been away for a while, and Serpentico tweeted and said, that's where you've been this whole time, butlery school.
Ha!
So I was like, now you have your butler. Let's hold off on the movies and go back to your very dramatic promos, especially if she loses. Like, I want those promos about that, and like
She
I
was
want
great
her.
when she was laying all over the table, and
Oh
I
yeah,
know
Nigel
that
was
some
not
people, when you
having
watch the fight feed, she throws to her own commercials basically, and
it.
it's apparently hilarious. I like listening to Kevin tell James what she says to the
That's
on the
fantastic.
fight feed to the
Yeah.
TV to throw to
Yeah,
ads.
man, I'm sure the fight feed is probably getting some great stuff from her.
So, you know, I'll have to move to England temporarily on some night and check it out.
Yes, temporarily. Just take a quick little trip over
Just
to
a
the
little quick
UK.
out of the North American hemisphere
Yes.
or continent.
Yes. Nikki said it's so good. Plus, it involves RJ, and we all
Yeah,
know RJ with this type of stuff. RJ is
it's
he's so
perfect.
underrated. He's so underrated. I love that guy. And Tony, Nikki's right. The stuff
It's
with Tony
because
is
some people get his humor and some people don't, and that's
yeah,
okay. But
that's
he's
okay.
a certain kind of funny.
But and it works perfectly with Tony. And like the whole, like
It's
he's even
perfect.
said, like the whole reason, like Tony Khan is a huge fan of RJ's sense of humor, and that's basically why he hired him, is because he thinks he's funny. And so this is like right up his alley, and it's perfect with what Tony Storm is doing. Like there's no, like Renee couldn't. I love Renee, but she couldn't do what RJ is doing in this instance, and I think RJ is the perfect kind of foil for this stuff. And so, and the more RJ we get on TV, the better, in my opinion. So
Agree. Hard agree. Love it.
yeah,
I'm that humor works for me, so I'm
me
in.
too. Same.
It's totally like
I will take it.
it is very in my wheelhouse.
Yes, me too. For some of you, maybe it's QTV. Maybe that's in your
I
wheelhouse.
didn't
You
think
enjoy that type of comedy, but I will take the RJ City type of comedy.
it was a good friend, my good friend who just recently got married, who turned me on to Hey W, and he's like, "You guys got to watch it," and it was like, okay, fine.
AEW is great. We're very behind on it because we had been watching in order.
Yeah, I haven't watched much, but some of them were like, because it was just, it's so amazing with some of the wrestlers that just don't, they're not gonna like blow him up. They just don't know how to take him.
Yeah, they don't
So
know
great.
how to do like still one of the best ones is the one with Eddie Kingston, because
Yes.
I don't think he knew who not that he didn't know who RJ City was, but I don't think he knows what RJ City was about. It was an early episode of Hey W. Like this was like only a few weeks in, and nobody really knew what Hey W was gonna be. And his reactions are just phenomenal. And then the one with Ricky Starks is really funny too. I really enjoyed that one a lot. And like he had William Regal on there, and William Regal was really funny.
Oh man, nice.
There's been some really good ones, and so I've got to get back in the habit of watching it because there's some good stuff.
Well, I mean, it's, it's going to get a little crazy because it's going to be that time of year, because, tomorrow or 2 days will be Halloween, and then in 5 minutes it'll be Christmas. So,
right. And there's so much stuff, and now they're building for like this. So yeah, to bring it all back around, they're building into the Sting stuff. And like my friend made a really good point. He was like, Sting deserved that moment. Rick does not deserve it.
Yeah.
But it's not Sting's fault that Rick has done the things that he has done, and Sting should not be punished for that. And he's like, so I'm really happy for Sting, but I don't, and that's how I kind of look at it. I don't want to see Ric Flair on my TV. I hate that he's going to be on TV. I was hoping this was going to be a one-off, but it sounds like it's not. Like, I don't think he's going to be wrestling or anything. He's just going to be on the TV.
No, he's just going to be around. It sounds like he's going to be around TV until March.
Which I don't want him around on TV. I don't even want that from him. I don't want him near the women's division. I just.
Yeah, right.
I don't like. And people made very valid points. Tony's going in, rightfully so, on Vince McMahon. And then 2 weeks later, he puts Ric Flair on TV.
Yeah.
And
I mean, one of my friends mentioned that, like, Okada and Rick.
Go ahead.
You go.
I was gonna say, I know he can justify it, or he's justifying it as this is for Sting. This is my gift to Sting. I want Sting to have this moment. I want Sting to be able to finish this out. But that's not a good enough reason, at least not in my opinion.
And I had a friend point out, the two of the world's greatest wrestlers were in the same ring at the same time. I mean, and it was kind of like Okada was there that night and Ric Flair was there that night. And I mean, notwithstanding the greater issues, like in terms of like history, like that is like, again, it kind of goes back to the like that wouldn't have been possible necessarily 5 years ago.
Right.
Whereas,
And
I don't love it. I get it. It's something I'm going to tolerate for Sting, and that's it. It's his retirement, and
I will say that the roasting that Christian gave him was worth it.
Yes.
I don't know how much of that Christian believed, and he was just, if he really just doesn't like Ric Flair, and so he was just saying it, or if it just is he can get away with it because it's his current character. Whatever the reason, I'm glad we got it. To me, that was worth it.
If you like that, Jim Valley gigs the news on Saturdays, and he does funny parody news about wrestling, and his Ric Flair's material is some of the absolute great, and he does it like a old school comedian kind of style. He's very, very good at it, and if you like that, you'd love his.
I need to check that out.
He went in on him this past weekend. So when he gets the news, it will be worth it for Jim's jokes about Ric Flair because they never ever get old. So his literally, I think the joke was so he gave Sting a divorce. That was his present to him.
Right. That's great. Nikki said, I just want Daddy Christian to continue to roast him, please, because that was amazing. Yes. So. Yeah, it was great. Daza says 2 more days to Halloween, 2 more days to Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
Yes. My friends went to Ren Fair as Jack and Sally. It was very cool. Yeah. My friends went to Ren Fair as Jack and Sally. It's like a big variation. I was just
telling Nikki a few days ago, I was like, I haven't watched Nightmare Before Christmas all the way through in a really long time. And I was like, I want to, and like when it comes on, I'm usually like doing something else, or I'm working or something is happening and I can't sit down and watch it. I was like, I'm about to just record it and, because we have this fancy DVR contraption. Go back and watch it.
What?
Since we're talking about Halloween, I guess it's the perfect segue right back into the Halloween horror movie that hopefully you guys who are still here will help us write. So last year we did this, and I have a screenshot of the cast that we had. So last year's movie, it was Orange Cassidy, Miro, Yano, Nick Gage, Abaddon, Willow Nightingale, and Bailey. So this year, I just came up with some random names. Hopefully Mel is cool with it. I was just kind of...
I trust you. We tend to be on the same page about these things. So.
I was like, PCO should be in this film, in our horror film. And she was like, Christian should be in it too. She did suggest the ghost of Bray Wyatt, but we weren't sure if that would go over well. So. Yeah,
I mean, we should probably be respectful. We don't know if people can take that or not. It's a joke, but not everybody can take a joke.
We decided to be respectful and not upset anyone, so we definitely put in Christian. I just felt like Tanahashi should be involved.
I liked the Tanahashi ad.
Yeah, I just was like, you know what? Let's put Tanahashi in this. And then I was saw about Julia and how well she did last night. I heard she had a great match with High-End. Trisha Dora has introduced herself to Julia now. So that should be some good stuff. So I was like, you know what? She's our strong champion. Let's put her in this horror film. And I was like, well, if we have Julia and we're talking about great women's wrestlers, then we have to have Emi. Emi Sakura has got to be in our horror film. And then I was like, let's bring in Trinity. We're going to do a little bit more women this year. We're going to bring in Trinity. She's going to be in this film. But then I was like, you can't have all these great women and not have Jade Cargill. Jade's doing all these phenomenal things. She's the toast of WWE. Let's bring her into our horror film. And then I was going to leave it there because last year we did 7 and we didn't want to do too many. And I was just thinking about it, like, you know what? I feel like Eddie Kingston needs to be in this film.
Throw a wild card in the mix.
Yeah, Eddie, perfect. He's a wild card. We've got to figure out how he fits into our horror film. So again, our cast members are PCO, Christian, Tanahashi, Julia, Emmy, Trinity, Jade Cargill, and Eddie Kingston. So with our horror film, we went with the tropes. And so our first question is, if this was a horror film featuring this cast, who do you think would die first?
Who dies first in this? Let's see.
And you guys watching, please feel free to jump in the comments and tell us who you would say. And if you're listening to this on the audio or watching the replay later, feel free to answer these questions and tell us on Twitter who you would cast.
Yeah, definitely weigh in if you're listening. Absolutely. Yeah. We have the @Powerbombshells for those of you who are on the $10 tier and are choosing to listen to this on Monday or whatever.
Yes. If you save it for Tuesday for Halloween, you want to get into the Halloween groove, help us write this movie. So Nikki has weighed in, and she believes the first person who's going to die is PCO. My question to you is, if PCO, Nikki, is the first person to die, does he stay dead? Because we have seen PCO buried alive in Impact, and he has come back several months later. So should PCO be our first death? Does he stay dead, or is he like, this is what gets him?
Such a great question, because we saw him be elected. We saw him in the electrocution match, in the electric chair match at ROH Supercard of Honor a few years when they were co-promoting with New Japan.
Yeah,
and the guy was in the electric chair, and he's still out there just wrestling.
Yeah, and
that guy's it's so funny she said that, because my immediate thing is like, well, PCO's got to be like the murderer, right? I mean.
So Nikki says,
she says no.
PCO does not stay dead. So
he dies first, but maybe that's part of the plot. He dies first.
He dies first, but it's actually because he's the murderer, perhaps.
Or he's like the psycho killer, or the I mean, Jason went to space.
Yes. So Nikki says that PCO is the first death, but he doesn't die, but nobody knows this. So everybody is operating. The rest of this film is going on with the assumption that PCO has something finally killed him for good this time.
He fake dies. He kayfabe dies at the beginning.
Right.
Nobody knows.
So out of this list, who do people think is the murderer but is actually innocent? So now that we have dead PCO, our options would be Christian, Tana, Julia, Emmy, Trinity, Jade, or Eddie Kingston. So the question again is, who do people think is the murderer but is actually innocent?
Probably Christian for me.
I
mean, it seems like the obvious one, because he's such a douche.
I would say Christian seems like the obvious one. I think that people
he'd probably be making fun of all the murder victims the whole time, like
talking about their dead relatives.
They're like, it's like, oh look, your sister just got like chopped up by PCO murder guy, like.
So I think that people are gonna think that it's Eddie Kingston, because Eddie he likes the fire. He has come to matches with gasoline. He has just straight up tried to kill people in his fight. So I think that people think it's gonna be Eddie, but he's actually gonna be innocent.
He is hard. He's a hard MFer, so they would be like.
But he has a heart goal.
So he's more of a douchey. Christian's a douche, but he comes off like douchey turtleneck guy who was like a big talker, but not necessarily.
That's fair.
In a horror movie, not in the wrestling ring, obviously.
That's fair. And then we all know that Eddie Kingston, unless you talk about his mother, he's probably not going to kill you.
Yeah, right. But he definitely, I mean, with that, the rest of the group, I think Christian would be leading the charge, saying that it was Eddie.
Yes. Oh, 100%. And
Like
then
trying
Nikki
to just,
says,
you went out and like, we're doing this and you were all of those things and all these people are dead. And where were you?
Nikki says Julia, except for it's not that Julia Hart. I mean, Julia Hart would have been good in this story, but I didn't want to confuse
Were
people with
you
two
thinking of
Julias.
Julie? Oh, so
But
you put
Julia, the strong champion, which is
Julia.
who I mentioned. Yes. So Julia, our strong,
Julia.
yes, Julia Julia, our strong
Julia
champion.
Julia.
Even though Julia Hart would also be great for this story. Nikki said that Christian's going to offer to be everybody's daddy.
That's true. It's true. He would try to be the boss of the like whole operation, I think.
Oh yeah, he's the one leading the charge of trying to, but he's probably also the one who is falsely accusing people to rile them up and to turn them against each other. And he's going to be like, Emi Sakura, she's mean and she has a vicious streak, and she probably beat somebody with a microphone stand because she loves Freddie Mercury. And then he's probably like, and then he was like, Trinity is just out here super kicking people and putting them in the starburst, killing them. So, he's the one that's going around to each person telling him it's this person so that they all suspect each other.
Except in LCI, this is where I think that Jade Cargill steps in and calls him out on his BS, because she's like, maybe it's you big douchebag, since you're running around accusing everybody and telling everybody what to do and trying to be the daddy of this whole operation.
Right.
She seems like
Julia,
the bad bitch that would
Jade
cut
is
him off
definitely
and
the
be, I mean,
one.
that's her job, where she would be like, why are you sowing dissent, prick?
Gray also says that Julia, he thinks is who people think is the murderer, but is actually innocent. So we have two for Julia in this scenario. So our next question is, who outsmarts the killer?
Well, it's got to be Tanahashi, the ace of the universe.
Yeah, I was leaning towards Trinity. Maybe Trinity and Emmy, teaming up to outsmart the killer. But yeah, I think Tanahashi's been around for a long time. He knows the tricks that everybody pulls. He sees through the facade of Christian. He sees
he doesn't care about that.
The shit stirring he's doing. I think that Tana probably, if it isn't, Tana's a very good one, but I would say that I'm gonna go with, to change a little bit, I'm gonna go with Emmy and Trinity are gonna team up together to outsmart the killer.
All right, I like this because teamwork makes the dream work.
It does. Nikki also says Emmy. She believes that Emmy is the one who outsmarts the killer. She also has been around for a very long time and has seen it all. So maybe Emmy and Tanahashi team up because they are the two who've been around the longest and they can see through everybody's shit.
And she is actually a mischievous type herself, so she kind of has the like inside scoop in terms of thought process.
Yes. See, yeah.
Is just like a superhero. So he's just like, I mean, he wouldn't hurt a fly, basically.
Right.
He's Tana.
Listen, Tana's biggest enemy right now are apples. Just don't let him.
Yeah, right. Bobbing. Like as long as the killer's not an apple, we're fine.
Don't let him go bobbing for apples during Halloween season.
Because he should drink apples. Like dude, they make juice version. You don't have to have the hard.
Right.
We've been through this. We have a very scientific, empirically correct study that we did on this. Drink your apple. No, don't crunch it.
Yeah. See, exactly. So we don't want this horror film to be Tana versus the apple.
No.
Poor Tana always loses. He's lost like 4 times already.
Attack of the Killer Apples.
He is, but yes, that's Tana's horror film.
That would be bad.
Poor Tana. So then our last question would be, who is the mastermind?
And I feel like that, and in the end, it really does feel like, because Christian's been sowing dissent the whole time, that he seems like the most obvious mastermind behind it. Unless PCO, because he comes back he may be like, he waited for them all to like get against each other, and then he attacks. So he was the mastermind all along.
Or perhaps we have PCO and Christian working together, And so, but I don't trust Christian to work with anybody. I think Christian might think that PCO is on his side, but PCO does not trust Christian because he is, and also PCO is not human. We have established this many
Correct.
times. And so Grace says, "Go Ace," and Nikki says, "I was gonna say Tana the whole time, but I was gonna joke about." So Tana is the mastermind, but then gets killed by apples.
An apple.
Or he loses all of his teeth to apples, and there's nobody left because he killed them all.
Because the only way to kill the only way to outsmart the killer is to like chew something. And he can't because he has to chew an herb, like a special herb, to like send PCO back to the grave, and he can't because his gums
I also feel like Jade survives. Like I feel like Jade.
Oh, Jade definitely survives. Jade, I would think would be Jade or Trinity or both would be like the people. Like Jade seems like the one walking out with the machete at the end, like
Jade is the one
with all the like blown up and like devastation behind her, kind of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Jade. So maybe the masterminds are PCO and Christian, but Jade is the one who outlasts them all. Like Jade is the one. She's the one that
like she's out with a machete. She's like covered in blood. She gets in a boat and she floats away, and then black.
Yeah, see, that sounds
fade out, gone.
That's how and then that's how I guess technically the second movie ends because we had our first movie already. And I was trying
this would be the sequel, and then we'd have that would be the we would do this is a franchise, remember? Because
this is a franchise.
If you don't do franchises, Hollywood won't make your movies. So we had to have a franchise in mind.
This is gonna be like Fast and the Furious, but horror movies with wrestlers. Because I was trying to remember, should have gone back to listen, but Nikki and I think last year that we had Willow be the one. Was she was our mastermind, right? I believe she was.
I think that's right.
Because nobody would suspect her. I think
she was so innocent.
Yes, and now we see.
But now we've got this whole situation where Willow is resisting the mist. So
right. So perhaps
resist the mist.
She's trying to resist the mist. And she's trying to fight it, and Sky Blue is succumbing to it, and she's trying to keep that from happening. But Willow might not be as innocent as we think she is, because last year she was our mastermind. And this year, this year, our masterminds are PCO and Christian, except for PCO doesn't trust Christian, and then Jade is the one who outsmarts everybody.
And Jade is out there somewhere.
Maybe
with vengeance on her mind.
She could be. She could be showing up in part 3 next October.
We might have to highlight her in this year's notes as a recurring character for next year.
We do. We will make that. Yes. So next year we remember. Nikki said, "Does he choke them with apples?" Yes. He could use bitten apples as his calling card.
You could just throw them too.
Just don't bite them. Just throw them. Just toss them.
Just throw them.
You know what? I think Nikki is correct. Nikki said, because we were trying to remember, Nikki said that she said Orange was the mastermind, but I think the rest of us said Willow because Keela was helping us with this last year.
I think Keela and James had a little input last year. I can't remember, but Keela was definitely helping us.
Yeah. And I think that's right. I think Nikki is correct. That Orange.
She's really good. It's like I want to next time we do this, we got to get Keela and JD because they're the authors.
They're right. Yes. Nikki and I were talking about that with Keela yesterday. We're like, Keela's so good at this stuff. So yes, Keela and JD next year we'll have to ask them early enough.
Because they both write fiction, so they both know how to, and they're fun and they have fun minds. So they're like, we'll have to make sure we plan a. I mean. Crazy week, folks. We had Sunny's birthday, and unfortunately, the tragedy that took place in Maine took place in my region and my hometown area, and so my family was under lockdown there, and so that was a little crazy. And shout out to all my peeps in Maine. So
for sure.
I grew. 20 years of my life, I grew up there. I went to high school there. I have friends. One of the things that they did say a lot this week was that everybody knows somebody. And I, sent a tweet to my sister about the doctor who had handled their CDC briefings during COVID. Their deaf interpreter was one of the victims.
I saw that
That doctor lives 4 houses down from my mom.
Oh, wow.
That's the kind of thing that we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
So
It does.
that
Yeah,
is the tight knit, and in that way, big ups to the community for the way that everything. I
oh, for
mean,
sure.
it's
Yeah.
just
Well, and that's the thing about that people, I think that gets lost a lot of times in gun violence is it doesn't affect just one person or the families of the victims. It affects entire communities. It changes people's lives immeasurably.
yep,
And it's not just, and I know it gets desensitized because unfortunately it happens way too much in this country
way too
where
much.
we think, we just see it and we're like, oh, sounds about right. And you move on to the next thing. But there's these communities that are reeling and left reeling and still reeling years later that never fully recover from that because how can you? And then, it just keeps happening. And it's a very tough thing. And hate that, you and your community had to go through that because that's a terrible thing.
And it really sucks for. I mean, I think you nailed it. I don't think there's much more to add. You've just nailed it right there, and it needs to stop. I
Yeah.
mean, I even just living here in Michigan, this is like, that's my hometown, my home area that I grew up in. I'm living
Yeah.
here in Michigan now, and we've had the problem. We've twice in the last year, both at, Michigan State and Oakland.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I mean, so it's got to stop. It's
It does.
time to, and listen, gun owners universally, smart, responsible gun owners, they agree with all the laws that would prevent this.
Yeah.
So
And
let's and I mean,
there's
I don't want to
no
get
reason.
overly political, but the idea here is that something like 98% of gun owners agree with all the things that you would basically
Yeah.
put in place to
Right.
make sure. And Maine is actually doing a lot with their laws
Good.
to do things where they actually are using flagging, and so
Good.
it's. I
That has
hope
to be
that people
that has
take a
to be the
lesson from
answer
the
in
way that
tragedy.
the
Like,
communities handled this, because I think especially the guy that was the head of the emergency management, the commissioner, uh, wow, what a he was very smart, he was very succinct, he was very compassionate. I think that people could take a lesson from.
oh, for sure.
And speaking about community policing, where him and his police officers were just at a meeting with 100 social workers,
Wow.
teaching them about how to implement these new things so that they can protect their patients' privacy, but still make sure that these avoidable tragedies don't keep happening. And
Yeah, and
so
that's the thing. All of this is avoidable.
it's avoidable. That's the part
That's
that's
it's all of this is
annoying.
avoidable. There's no reason for any civilian to have military grade weapons.
Correct. So,
There's
and now if you hate us because of our stance, oh well. Here,
yeah, I mean
here,
it's
let
just
me wait, let me put these back up here. There you go. That's our Twitter follows right there. You can come at us. We're happy to defend
yeah.
our principles because we're two people that care about things. And
Yeah.
but happy
There's a
birthday
lot.
I don't want to end on that note because
No.
Main strong, guys caught. People can
Yeah,
start to heal
I
now.
know that you guys have, and that it's something that, I know it touched you, and I wasn't sure if we would wanted to talk about it or not. And so I'm glad that you felt comfortable enough talking about it because it is
I think it's
something that
important that we make
it
sure
is
and
important and it is
call out
something that
the
it
fact that
affects
this is the
it.
richest nation the world has ever known, and this is
I was going to
inexcusable.
say this is affecting us, and I have a friend who is in Canada, and I don't know I don't know what the conversation is in Slack, but I saw him say the answer is stricter gun laws, and he was like, everybody outside of America can see that, and I don't know why you guys can't, and I don't know why people in your country worship guns the way that they do.
Yeah.
And
I mean it's sadly driven by capitalistic
it is a lot
madness.
a lot of the world's problems are sadly.
So
But yes,
and there we are. But no, I mean,
but if
really,
anybody
honestly,
is
the
listening
bigger thing
from,
I want to make sure and say is
yeah,
love everybody at home. Glad everybody's safe that
me too.
is. And my heart goes out to the victims and their families because
Absolutely.
undoubtedly you're part of I know someone and you know someone I know, and we all played
Right.
soccer together or had a beer at some point. And
Mm-hmm.
stop the madness.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no reason for innocent lives to be lost like this. It's unconscionable. it's Yeah. And so, I'm glad we talked about it. And again, we don't want to end on that note. And but we did want to that is something that we felt like needed to be addressed, especially because, that's Mel's backyard. Mel spent a good chunk of her life there, and that's something that affects her directly, as a lot of gun violence tends to do. It's kind of like cancer. Somebody who knows somebody.
Yep. It's another very preventable thing that we can set up. And
so we did want to make sure that we said that, but we don't want to end on that note. So again, thank you for everybody who hung out with us. Thank you for writing our dumb little horror movie. we'll bring it back next year. We'll have Jade recurring. Maybe Orange Cassidy makes a return in the third one, because we
need Jade back because she got out of the second movie, so we probably need to highlight her.
And then we might have to have the third one is usually where somebody from the first one kind of comes back. So maybe
there we go.
Maybe we have Orange Cassidy come back, or maybe Willow. Maybe one of those two come back in our third one. So hopefully we'll be around for 3 years.
Which just lets you know that we have the full confidence that next Halloween we'll be right back here for a live stream with you folks.
That's right. Still nothing will top the Liger costume, but we will.
Well, no, but I mean, we can try. I mean, I won my. What do you want? I made the point last week, and I'll say it again. I won my Super Bowl in my rookie year. What am I gonna do?
Yes. Nikki said today was fun. Grace said great show. Thank you guys. And we'll definitely next week we're going into episode 90. So we are inching closer and closer to 100 Power Bombs episodes. So 90 is a big milestone for us. And so we'll have in a few weeks we're going to have the Full Gear pre show that's coming up.
I know, it's like on your birthday, right?
It's the
on
day
your
before
birthday or the day before your birthday?
Day before my birthday, so we've got that coming up, and then apparently we're gonna have a final battle pre-show, and or at least talk about
and then
it.
We're gonna have whatever that December 30th.
Whatever that December, I forget what the name of that pay-per-view was. It's a weird name or something. It just sounds like that's the name they went with. But so December the 30th, apparently, get ready to kind of ring in 2024 with us.
So smash that subscribe button and the thing and all of those things that we do ask. And I try to comment on people's videos too, because I do enjoy but it does help us a lot. I mean, it really does. It gets everybody's stuff out there.
I go back even to other people's clips, and we'll go click the thumbs up button because it helps. Unfortunately, we do have to play the algorithm game. It's just how this stuff works. So I wager that, speaking of Strong Style, Jeremy and Steven are going to have a really great pre-show for things like Wrestle Kingdom and New Beginnings coming up as well. So making sure that you're subscribed, you'll get definitely. They've definitely got some good stuff. And
I really like watching their shows, their preview shows for stuff like that. They do a really nice job.
They're on it. They're so in depth. And then the Rap just had their first live show.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they did their first live show. So I think they're going to try to do that a little bit more often.
They went live right after Raw is what they do.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be every week, but I think it's going to be, and if you want to listen to the Rap, and if you're still a WWE fan, we do have a specific WWE show. It's the Rap. They come out their episode drops every Monday morning on Patreon. You can get that even at the $5 tier. That show is available for you. So definitely go. There's a lot of good stuff over it on the Patreon. We cover all types of different type of combat. There's MMA stuff over there. There was a while back, Garrett did a thing on Creed, the Creed movies, not Creed the band, who are now having a little bit of a comeback because of the Rangers, but Creed the film, they did some stuff. So there's a lot of good stuff over there, and we have a lot of cool people making content. And if you can spare $5 a month or $10 a month, they would greatly appreciate that for sure.
We definitely do. And that comes with, if you guys do sign up for the Patreon, that's Insta access to our Discord, which we have a lot of fun in. We have a lot of fun in our channel. I do appreciate you guys engaging me during the week. It's great. I love it. I love having a conversational channel. I appreciate that you guys.
I'm not over there, but Mel
keep me Well,
Mel
Sam has a
pulled
shoot
down
job. Mel has a different life situation, so she can kind of
the
hang
Mel
out and
Mel
be a
being pulled
weirdo.
down the fort in Discord, which I appreciate that we have some Power Bombshells representation over in the Discord.
It's a good fun place. It's a great community if you really want to just have a fun time with cool people who like wrestling and all kinds of others. I mean, we've got a food channel. Jeremy is one heck of a cook, man. He is like, man, geez. We have a lot of fun. This is a great network, and I love these people, and I'm always grateful for anyone that flips us an up like or a dollar or whatever, because this is my fam. These are my peeps.
Yes.
Good peeps here.
They are. So,
All right.
Thank you guys for hanging with us this week, and any week that you hang out with us, we appreciate it. And we will be back next week for episode 90.
Later.